good way of working that back and forward. 6-inch that's running through there. So they're upgrading it to a 12-inch, which will actually help that when they develop that ground to the south, so they have a good outlet for a 12-inch tile. So that's my recommendation. That's just forward planning going forward.
Forward planning?
Forward.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I got that southwestern Pennsylvania English that sometimes just doesn't come out very well.
Yeah.
A hillbilly.
Are you ready for a motion?
I don't mind the ponds. It's just if we get stuck doing that, I mean, we have no room to work on it.
Well, a 12-inch tile in a subdivision, we work on a 30-inch easements. You do
30 feet.
30 feet.
30
feet
feet.
easement. You do that. You do that with a 30-foot easement in a subdivision. That's the standard for a 12-inch tile in a regular subdivision. So, and this would be even for where it's at. It's not going to be right next to houses. It's running into the pond and running out and around. So, I understand what you're saying, but from the same standpoint, they do it all the time. For where it's at, because it's not. It's going to be brand new tile for where it's at as it runs through there. You're only fixing a blowhole for where you're at. It's only 12 inches. So you don't have to shore the walls. You don't have to do certain things to make a bigger trench for where you're at. I mean, you can fix it with it.
And I presume that we would be under a 3-year maintenance bond after we construct it. So that would give even additional time for the Vale property to be developed and this whole regulated drain be completely, if Mark doesn't get approval here in the next week or so to completely responsible for it 3 years post-construction, which wouldn't even probably be in the ground until a year from now at least. So probably looking at 4 years of 4-Star being responsible for it.
I would make a motion that we award the petition to relocate a legal drain, Laurent T. Gale arm drain with a 30-foot, what'd you call that?
Reduction in easement.
Yeah, reduction with a 12-inch pipe.
You mean a
And we
reduction?
want to do option 1 as proposed easement relocation option 1, which is exhibit 3.
I need a second.
Nobody seconded yet.
Second. That's what I was looking at everybody like, is there something I don't know about that?
Second.
The only thing is you said in your motion,
Reduction of 30 feet. Reduction to 30 feet.
from 150 to 30.
So I would.
Correction.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the reconstruction and reduction of easement on the Laurel T. Gale arm of the Stansbury and Schultz at 500 West. Did you say who it's for?
The Jacoby's is actually who it is for. They have signed the letter there.
Jacoby's doing it to start with, okay.
Yeah,
For Charles.
for the landowners, yes.
For Jacoby Farms LLC. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. Let's go to number 5. George Willis Park. So if you remember, a while back, we had a petition brought in by Gary Edwards to reconstruct the George Willis Parker tile drain. Gary has since came into our office this past week or this past month and rescinded his petition to reconstruct the George Willis Parker regulated drain. So we had already started and survey work and different stuff that's involved with that.
Can we ask why?
Well, you may have to ask Gary the entire story on that. But from what I have been told is that now, since for a temporary fix is what we were having Amplify do, go to Sugar Creek, He would like to hold off until that actually happens and then see. And I told him that's only a temporary fix. It's eventually going to go into that tile that's there because it needs to go. I don't want to move them out of the watershed because then it moves everybody out of that watershed. He
It
said
needs to be reconstructed.
it needs to be reconstructed. So he said, you know, in not so many words, that he didn't really care from that standpoint. He wanted to sit and wait. I said, okay, that's fine. And that's his prerogative. He's the landowner, and that's why this is here. But from the same standpoint, I've talked to Steve Ellsbury here, our attorney, and in our classification of drains, for at least the last 5 years, the George Willis Parker has been as a tile that is in need of reconstruction. And per code, the board can appoint or petition me to look at that tile to reconstruct that tile. So we really don't need a petition from a landowner to do that since it's already been classified as that from that standpoint. So it would be my recommendation that that's what we do, that we continue to move forward with that avenue of looking at reconstructing that, continuing the survey, continuing the things so we have that information so that we can proceed into a hearing if it is so fit by this board to move forward with it.
I'd make a motion then that we continue to have the surveyor look into the reconstruction of the George Willis Parker.
Commissioner Spaulding, the legal terminology would be you would refer this drain for a reconstruction.
I would
report.
refer this drain to the surveyor for reconstruction report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we refer the George Willis Parker drain to the surveyor for reconstruction. Or look at whatever you want to say. Report for reconstruction. Any other discussion?
Yes. I don't understand why this was a big deal. We weren't going to do it. Now it's not a big deal, but we're still going to do it. I don't understand.
Explain what you mean.
We were not going to do anything, and then we had a landowner come in throwing a fit about going to flood him out. It's going to cost them thousands of dollars. So you spent multiple hours finding out, okay, he's right. We need to fix this.
Right.
Now he doesn't want to do it, but we still want to.
So I guess from a standpoint, it's always known that it needed to be done. The question was, what were the means to get it done, of how we were going to fund it and get it done, right? And a lot of times when you do a reconstruction, what is the benefit of the reconstruction compared to the landowners and the people that are there? And so it all was facilitated by Amplify being able to tie into that tile, whether they could or not.
That's the first step, Eric. So when
Yes.
anybody requests to tie into a regulated drain, Chad has a statutory obligation to study that and make sure that the drain can handle it. So in his determination, the drain as it sits could not. Gary Edwards' petition was sort of separate at the same time, saying this whole drain needs to be reconstructed, which was separate from Chad's determination of whether the Amplify project could go in there. I really can't speak to why Gary withdrew his petition, but the motion that was just made still allows Chad to continue with the studies that have started, and they can be used.
So in the
When he brings
beginning
it back
of this
to the board.
Amplify, we thought the drain was good enough.
Originally, that was the
And
first
with more
thought.
research.
Correct. Then once we
Found
looked
out
at it.
It's too small.
Correct. It
So
wasn't
now
going
we
to work.
fix it.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So they're almost two separate items, and then Gary actually sort of helped out and said, hey, we need to reconstruct this, and then for whatever reason withdrew his petition.
Why aren't you going to Sugar Creek?
They are going to Sugar Creek at the moment, but you're crossing watersheds. And so
Well,
what you're
Gary sent
doing,
me a text this week that the Amplify is tying into that tile.
no, they're not tying into that tile. That's the problem. And that Gary and I had a conversation again this week because they're not. We're running a bypass through there. So actually, the Amplify tile is coming in this way. Our tile is coming this way. Their tile, they're going to put a manhole here. Their tile is going to drop down, fill, come up over. We're going to encase the regular tile that's coming this way. So this is a temporary because Amplify needs to go into that tile to stay in that watershed for where it's at.
But for now, they're going to the creek.
Right now, they're going to the creek so that way they can continue to move forward with their building. Correct.
Then we reconstruct the tile, then tie into it.
Correct, and then when we reconstruct the tile, then that tile then will go into there and go
I
south.
think part of Gary's problem is he thinks that the county should pay for a big part of the reconstruction.
Instead
Well,
of the fund?
So hold on.
I'm
Yeah.
just telling you.
So hold on. So that will have to occur at a
Correct.
later
I
reconstruction
understand
hearing
that.
when the schedule of assessments are determined.
Correct.
And that will be a possibility to attribute costs and things like that, but that's not,
Correct.
I understand
that's not
that.
right now.
I've tried
You
to
mean
tell
he-
Gary that.
The county pay for it, not the fund. Is that what he's meaning?
Landowners in the
I think
watershed
that
will have to
his
be,
attitude is
Kinda
because
like
of
our meeting we
Amplify.
had with-
and that's where we've
It
got
needs
another issue
reconstructed.
with ownership of the
Instead
property
of his
and
tax dollars
possible
paying for it,
recusals.
the county pays
Well,
for it, which is
the
still his
reason
tax
that it
dollars.
needs it is because Amplify is gonna dump more water into it and won't handle it and back up into his basement and I don't know any of those answers.
Well, that'll have to be a hearing
Right.
and we'll have public testimony. We'll have the studies that you just, well, you
And-
have not voted yet,
And
but
in full disclosure, from the standpoint of when we're working on this report, and we're still working on it from that standpoint, there are other options that we can do that are open to us of whether we create at that point on the north side of 300 North a regional bank for everybody to tie into who develops their north that pays back that into that. If they develop as they go through there. So the money up front would be paid by someone, some entity, whether it is a government entity, whether it is the landowners, however that is parsed out at the hearing, but we can create a regional bank to refund that money as it goes back in through there as people develop that land to the north. The reason the George Willis Parker needs to be done is because development is coming in that area, and it's coming. With the interchange, with everything that's there, I mean, Amplify's the first step. And so getting ahead of this before everybody starts building everything else only makes sense for where it's at. And so that's just, it's a benefit to the land owners that are there, whether they are going to be selling that ground as farm field or whether they're going to continue to use it as farm field. That tile is only running at about 50% right now as it is. And so that doesn't help Gary even now. But I think Gary is also more worried about cost, but that'll all be flushed out, as Steve said, in the hearing and part of the report of how that is presented and what we want to do.
I guess if you're going to Sugar Creek, why don't you want to just go to Sugar Creek and stay there?
Because part of the
It
problem
looks like
is,
the shortest run.
because part of the problem is when you talk about drainage, you want to keep everything in the watershed that it's at as much as you can. Because if not, now I'm going to be taking everything that's there up to the top away from there. And so they have to, then I would have to have whatever Amplify's putting in there, they would have to create that in a way, they have to get their own personal easement. So it's a private easement that's going through there. So they'd have to have a tile that's large enough for all the development that's going to come through that area. They're putting in a 12-inch tile. They don't have enough tile to take for all that that's going in there. And I can't require them to put in a larger tile to stretch watersheds. This is a temporary fix for them to go do that. So this is their way to make that work. So I can't drain all those other properties into another watershed. I have no authority to tell them they have to do that. They have a tile that's there. It is our responsibility to make sure that tile is available and able to handle for what needs to be there, whether it's reconstructed through where it's at or not. If we just switch everything from watershed to watershed, then we got some serious problems.
plus it's not a regulated drain, Steve.
Right.
Sugar
Yeah.
Creek's not.
No, what's running to Sugar Creek? is
Yeah,
not
their tile's not a regulated drain either. So I can't, that's a private tile. So anybody that wants to tie into that, they can tell them no. Because that's their own private tile. Then everybody else, if anybody else develops around there, they have to tie back into George Willis Parker. They're doing that out of their own thing because they want to develop that property and not wait for the reconstruction to run through. That makes sense?
But the George
No.
Willis Parker it needed to be reconstructed because you couldn't support Amplify on
Correct.
that drain right now.
You're not going to support anything that's development that's north.
Environments.
Correct.
So the only motion, there's a motion and a second, it's further discussion, was to refer this for a reconstruction report. It's no further action.
Right.
Study it, figure out what it can
Have we
handle, what it
done
needs to be
that? Have we
fixed.
voted?
We haven't
Not
voted. We made a motion.
Further discussion.
Got to vote on it.
Yeah. Just got to vote.
I just had some questions.
Yep,
and felt like we were
absolutely.
going fast.
It's a great conversation, absolutely.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
All right, let's jump through 2 and 3 here.
Got 3
before-
minutes, Chad.
I know, that's why I said let's just do 2 and 3, and then we can jump to the hearing. So we'll do 2, approve the claims for 624, or 6/4 and 6/18. So there's a number of Doe Creek, Thompson Hamilton, Cahill Shores, Charles Briar, log jams, cleaning pipe for where it's at. On 6/18, finishing of leveling spoils for a couple of the ditches that we are finished dredging for the year. And now, Eric, I think we are finally done with
That tile, cleaning up the mess.
Yes, cleaning up the mess.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve claims for 6/4 and 6/18 as presented.
Second?
Been moved and seconded that we approve claims for 6/4 and 6/18 as presented. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
All right, number 3, encumbrance for the Dell Farm, the Keck, and the Cooley. For both of those, and spring settlement is coming through, so I think the Delph will get fine for where it's at. Cooley is a new drain that is still going to be paying back for a little bit for where it needs to go.
Move to approve the encumbrance for the Delph and Keck and Cooley drain as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the encumbrance of the Delph, A.O. Keck, and the Cooley Drain as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, I'm going to do one thing real quick before we do get to the thing. I think this will be quick enough. We have scheduled the Lance Caraway meeting for August the 5th. Due to some outside scenarios with the survey that's being done, along with the computer program we use, it's not going to be ready to go out Monday for the public. So I'm requesting that we move the hearing from August 5th to September 2nd for the Lance Caraway. So it's just to the following Drainage Board meeting at 8:30 in the morning. This is for that portion of the Lance Caraway along the road. And we went out and surveyed the whole ground there and that whole thing there.
Need a motion?
Yep, just need a motion that we move it from August 5th to September 2nd at 8:30 in the morning.
Move the proposed hearing from August 5th to September 2nd at 8:30 in the morning.
For the Lance Caraway.
For the Lance Caraway.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we move the hearing for the Lance Caraway drain to September 2nd
8:30.
at 8:30. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Now, maybe you want to suspend the Drainage Board and close the
Make a
Drainage Board
motion
meeting
to
so we can open
suspend the Drainage Board meeting.
Thomasville.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we suspend the Drainage Board hearing or meeting and open the Drainage Board hearing, public hearing for the Thomas Vale arm of the Stansbury and Schultz. All those in favor say aye again.
Aye.
Okay, I think.
Did you open the hearing?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we did.
All right, so we are here for the Thomas Vale arm of the Stansbury and Schultz regulated drain. I think at this time, I'll just give a little brief overview, and then I will turn it over to Mr. Joe Miller from Banning, who did the engineering work for us, and they're helping us through this process. The Thomas Vale arm of the Stansbury and Schultz that we are looking to reconstruct and
The back side, the very last.
Okay.
yeah, it's the very end of your packet there.
Okay.
Is the area that is north of 750 North and east of 600 West. It is the area of the open drain that runs around the McCord Cemetery. We had gotten a report from the town trustee the banks deteriorating and the fear of it getting into caskets and is not something that we wanted to look at. So the board moved that we move forward with a look of reconstructing that. We hired Banning Engineering to look at that ditch, and we've worked with the town of McCordsville a little bit. Their town center is there as well, of what would be the best contingency for that drain. And at this time, I will turn that over to Mr. Joe Miller. I'll work that.
Cool. Joe Miller, Banning Engineering. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you folks. Yeah, talking with Chad, we met out there a couple times and took a look at what's going on the Stanbury and Schultz. We've got roughly 700 foot of open ditch that is scouring on the cemetery side. There's the furthest downstream portion is the area of biggest concern, where it's kind of closest to the active cemetery plots there. So you can see kind of in this picture, that kind of shows what's going on there. It's scouring along the side. You can see the roots are exposed. Got about a mile and a half of watershed to this point, if you want to go to the next one. So we identified kind of highlighted area there is the 100 foot or so where it's of biggest concern, and then you see it, there's development on the east, but it is running along the township cemetery, the whole route there. So it's just something that is a concern. Want to make sure we address it effectively. So if we go to the next one. Walking out, and this has been something I know people have heard about, a two-stage ditch. So we want to put a two-stage ditch on the, we'll call it the city side, so to speak, Mr. Witzman. It'll be 16 foot most of the way around, and then in the bend there where it kind of goes from heading due north to west, make it 24 foot. It's a pretty standard design as far as two-stage ditches goes. It's going to increase the channel, so the top of bank capacity by about 80%, almost doubling that flow area within there. So it's going to greatly reduce those velocities that are the issue on the kind of the west and the south side of the bank. We're also going to riprap about 100 foot there, right where it comes closest to the bridge there. What's that for? Is that 400?
No, it's
Six.
the bridge to the south and the bridge to the
The bridge to the north.
That's 600 west.
600 west, yeah. So we're going to riprap that section there and stabilize that where that's the greatest concern and the steepest area there. And that's essentially the project in a nutshell. Going to put it back. I believe we have some Beck's hybrid grass waterway mix. It's going to go in the two-stage area. That'll allow it to grow back, keep that mowed and maintain that. So in summary, we got 600 foot of two-stage ditch, 100 foot of riprap. I'm increasing it by almost doubling it. It'll make it easier to maintain. You'll actually be able to get to it from the east and north sides if you need to. Stabilize that the area of greatest concern there by the cemetery plots, and then yeah, obviously lower velocities is better. And yeah, so construction costs about $300,000 estimated. All the material had to be hauled off, so there's roughly 3,000 cubic yards or so that'll have to go away to wherever the contractor decides to do that. But we're going to leave that up to the contractor. Chad's done a great job of getting the trees cleared off before the bat season ended. So that's a positive, and hopefully we can work through and get a local contractor that would be happy to do this at a cost lower than this. So any questions?
There are a lot of mature trees along that portion where the cemetery is.
There's some, yeah. So there are some mature trees. And when we were out there, we noticed some fairly significant invasive species. Bradford pears are everywhere, and then you have Asian honeysuckle, which is, and Chad can speak more to this, but he told me that we talked about it. That's something that needs to go away. They inhibit the ability for the stream to actually repair itself because it shades so much out. Asian honeysuckle actually has a way of killing off the undergrowth as well. So those two invasive species are competing. And as you saw in that first picture, there's no green down there at all. It's totally shaded. So an effort, I think the township's going to try to clear out those invasive species and open it up to allow the more appropriate Indiana, native species to kind of take hold and help maintain that. So that's a,
So what happens, there's no land has to be acquired. The easement, I mean, I guess all this is going, what I would call the east side of that.
We're not touching anything other than putting riprap on the bank next to 600 West. Really not touching anything in the construction side that's gone the cemetery side, other than putting riprap up by 600 West. All the construction is going to be on the east side and north sides as it goes around. So, yes, from that.
Nothing has to be required. I mean,
No, we don't need to buy anything or anything like that.
everything,
Yeah, we're all well within our easement. Yes.
What's the timeline for this?
well, once approved and authorized by the board, we'd like to go to bid. It'd be ideal to get this thing constructed in the fall so that you can get grass seed going. Right. But coordinating through that, if that doesn't seem to be a reasonable thing for the contractor, we can work with some local contractors to, we have to go through the bid process, right? Ideally, we'd like to see it get implemented this fall. If it can't do that, then we'll have to reevaluate and figure out what makes sense. But this fall would be an ideal time frame. The best time, it's been our experience with projects like this, the fall time period is the best time. You get a good stand of grass in the fall, better than even you do in the spring. So it's a better time to do that.
Yes, Mark.
I wanted to address a question.
Sure.
About property, whether.
If you
Mark
would,
Witzman, I'm the-
sorry, if you would, just state your name and your
Mark
position, please.
Witzman, I'm the town engineer from McCordsville. You asked the question about, does property have to be acquired?
who owns that?
Everything on the east and north side is the town of McCordsville.
Okay.
So it's all public ground, and Chad has kept us informed on the stages of the project and discussed with the town for that. So we've got an area, everything on the east side on the exhibit, you can go back to that.
Sure.
Was part of our town center project, and the town also acquired the lot to the north, which is probably where most of the staging for this will probably have to occur, is on that lot right there. So it's all public ground.
Thank you.
Now, my next question is where all the money comes from.
Well, we're going to get there. So
All right.
I wanted Joe to give you, have any other questions for Joe at this time?
Regional Development Commission.
Any other questions for Joe at this time? Okay, so by getting the engineering and the things, we sent out notice to landowners within the entire watershed. And so let me talk about that for a real quick second, because it's frustrating from our office in the way that our computer programs work when it comes to these types of things. We had conversations with Gary Poole about utilizing redevelopment commission for this project, and so kind of a catch-22 from the standpoint. One, the Thomas Vale arm of the Stansbury and Schultz is a part of the Stansbury and Schultz regulated drain, so it's all one entire watershed. That watershed starts south of 600 North, so over a mile south at Eastern and Stansbury. It continues to go north through this project, through the town, connects into the Schultz drain, and then goes out of the county at 800 West. It also runs to the east all the way almost to 450 West off the other way. So we had to send out notices to everyone in the watershed. So first off, we had a lot of people who inquired to us, why are we getting a notice on this and it's nowhere near where we are, right? We have people on 234 that are like, this is a mile and a half from me. Why am I getting this? So part of that is statutory and the way the watershed is set up, which I understand. The other aspect is we are proposing through the RDC that they are looking to outlay up to $300,000 for the project. So to put that into the notice of what we are proposing, the way that the computer program works, it doesn't allow us to put a 0 number in it. So when it comes up to the landowners, it looks like it's an error. It comes up with a hashtag and a num and a exclamation point. And so I wrote a letter that went out to all the people involved with it to kind of try to explain that. I think for some people it explained it well. For some people it might have confused them a little bit more, because on one it says this and on this it says this. We did get one letter of remonstrance from Mr. Mark Bailey, which I think is in your packet, along with the letter that I sent back to him. And he called me yesterday. He told me that afternoon, which was on Friday, and just said, well, thank you. Now that makes sense. I don't have a remonstrance. He says, because he's a lot in Easton and Stansbury. And so he was just trying to figure out why he was going to have to pay more. He couldn't figure out the num of where it was at. And part of that is for where it's at for them. So the projection of this is that it would be paid for by the Redevelop Commission for up to $300,000 for where that's at. I would request from the board that you have a letter from them that states that they will do that. And I think Gary Poole, is Gary here yet? He did. Yeah, there he is. There you go. So I'll let Gary talk from that standpoint.
The Redevelopment Commission made a motion in the previous year's budget thing to set aside $300,000 for this project work to assist with the economic development within McCoursville. As Mr. Witzman's already pointed out, they have a economic development, which you guys can probably already see out there to the north of there. So they already have a motion. It's already been programmed for this year. If the project isn't built this year, then we'll need to redo it again and do it again for next year. So this money's already been set aside, if you will.
And it's there for right now, or for this year?
It is right now loaded up. So it was established last year.
Keep saying redevelopment commission. Is that the same as the regional development commission?
Negative. It is the TIF monies collected from the TIF area along 600 West.
Okay, the hearing information says cost of this project we paid from $300,000 outlay from the regional development commission for this project.
It should be redevelopment commission, but actually it's for the TIF. It's from the northern TIF area, be the more correct. That's where the money is physically coming from.
That makes sense then.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yep. Gary, do you have, or can you get with Chad and get the minutes of that meeting for him? Will that satisfy you if you've got the minutes?
Sure, Chad, if you get with me, we can get that. So,
thank you.
Yes, sir. Anything else? Thank you.
So that would be my recommendation going forward, to move forward with the project for the reconstruction based upon, at no cost to the individual landowners, based upon the outside money from the RDC. And then I think you need to open it up for public comment as well. So that's for me at that standpoint. But any questions for me before you open it up?
I don't think. At this time, we will open the hearing for public comment. If you would state your name and your interest.
I think you're the only one here for it, so.
Sir, if you would, please come up. So we can't hear you.
And on 234, coming
Yes,
out
sir.
of the ditch on 234, has that been discussed?
Well, that's not a part of this.
Hey, Chad,
This has nothing to do with.
could you ask him to come up, please?
You need to, well, he was.
Well, we're being we can't hear him back there.
If he does he want to make a public comment or not, I guess.
I think he's concerned about something else.
Yeah.
He is.
Main road, isn't it?
On 600 West
600 west.
in 750 North.
Well, is there any concern yet about what's coming off under me? You know where I'm at on 234.
Correct. But that has nothing to do with this.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with this that's here. We can sit and talk about that afterwards.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
I just need to talk to somebody.
No, that's fine. That's fine. There's an issue with another thing in the watershed.
Okay, if there's no comment, I will close the public portion of the Thomas Vale arm of the Stansbury and Schultz reconstruction and go back to the board. Anybody Got anything further? I would entertain a motion.
So before you do that, in your motion, it's going to be a little bit wordy, but you have to determine whether the cost, damages, and expenses of this proposed reconstruction will be less than the benefit. And so the testimony you've heard, the costs are less than the benefit is what you've got to find in your motion, I think, to approve the reconstruction. So traditionally, the cost would be to the landowners to pay for this. You've heard from Gary Poole and from the surveyor that there is going to be no cost. So the cost is less, if that's your determination, that needs to be in your motion.
Understand that?
Barely.
That's
In other
our
words,
drainage, that's our
it's gotta
drainage
be
code.
cost
That's
You can
effective.
give them
There's gotta
that,
be more
and they
benefit
can
than
read
the
it from
cost.
there, right? Yeah.
Mr. Moore.
I don't know what that is.
I used to do this.
It may be when.
Did you?
It may be.
I need to read all this?
Nope, right
Okay.
there, whether, if the cost, damages, and expenses are less, then you approve.
Don't expect me to remember this.
Here we go. I move that we approve the reconstruction of the Thomasville arm of the Stansbury and Schultz regulated drain, proving that the cost and damages of the expenses and proposed construction will be less than the benefits occurring to the owners of the land benefited.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve
For the motion.
For the motion.
per the motion for the Thomasville arm of the Stansbury and Schultz. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
So then there is I think it's 20 days, the 20-day period where somebody could remonstrance in court, and then after that.
Request judicial review.
Yes, and then after that, we will start sending out bids from that project and start moving forward for where we're at.
Okay.
We approved the minutes? We did, didn't
Now you
Yeah,
can close
we
that.
still got a couple, three more things here.
Yep. Now you can close the,
we? Motion to close,
I'm sorry.
motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we close the public hearing of the Thomasville arm of Stansbury and Schultz. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to reopen the meeting?
Been moved and seconded that we reopen the Drainage Board meeting for July 1st. Okay.
all right, so a couple other things. Continuing to have the discussion, we're still researching different things. I will know more after Monday of next week. But continuing the discussion of drains that aren't on assessment. As we ran into with the Lance Caraway, we do have a number of drains in our county that are regulated drains but are not on assessment. And it'll be, at that point, we'll decide what we bring to the board of how we want to move forward with that. Whether we want to, per the code, it appears that they are either supposed to be classified as on maintenance, need of reconstruction, or vacated. I don't think there's anything, and we can't do maintenance if there's no fund. And so we are kind of hamstring tied on some of those. So we're going through the list that we have, verifying ones that are actually there. I think the first group we will bring forward will be the ones that maybe are not there anymore, and to vacate those, because if they're not in working order and not benefiting, there's no sense in continuing to try to have a maintenance or if they've been taken over by a subdivision or by development from that standpoint. And then we'll start to have discussions on ones that are actually out there, of what we want to do going forward with those, whether we want to turn them back over to a mutual drain, as they've been doing, and relinquish the board the right of them from that standpoint, since they are already being taken care of by other people, or if we are going to create an assessment for them. And then
You have to have a hearing for that?
we will have to have hearings. And so, yes, and so we want to try to get our ducks in a row first, but I want to keep the board informed as we continue to move forward that, just as a point of information, Johnson County 2 years ago, the gentleman who came in as their surveyor none of their drains were on assessment. And so they did, I think it was 31 in one day. It did the fairgrounds on a Saturday and did them all together. We will not do that. So just so
Any
you
idea how many total drains are not on assessment?
I think I did have that number. I think there's 58.
What you told me.
I think there's 58 of them. Now, there are some there that I know are they're going to be vacated. But it'll be the decision then of what to do going forward with some of those. So
So you'll provide us the list.
I'll get you the list and everything that's there,
But to
yes.
vacate it, you gotta have a hearing.
Yes,
Because
yes,
it's,
yeah.
it's been established, it's benefiting the landowner, so if you're gonna vacate it, you've gotta give them.
yes.
Right.
But you will provide your recommendation at that time when we're provided the list. So that
Correct,
we can.
absolutely, yes. And then I'll put a report together for each one, and then we'll go from that standpoint of how we want to go there. So that may be just some interesting times going forward. So I wanted to let everybody understand that, what that information is going forward. The last thing that I have on here is number 4, the approval of the first half of the year of drainage pay. So there on number 4, you have the list of payments from January through June 3rd for the year, and the amount that each person was here, and the amount that they get. And the hearings as well for the Lance Caraways, the 2 Lance Caraway meetings, for where they're at. So if you,
Just say as presented.
any discrepancies
Motion.
or that, or then you can.
We approve the 2025 Drainage Board pay as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the first half of the 2025 Drainage Board as pay as presented. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I have no other old business. Does the board have any new business for me? Okay, next meeting will be August 5th, which is Tuesday. We voted in this one not to have the Lance Caraway meeting that morning. It will be moved to the following month. So August 5th will just be a regular drainage board meeting.
I will not be here.
Make a motion to close the meeting?
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we close the July 1st Drainage Board meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Have a great week.
I'm going to get a new hip that day.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's important. That is important. That's the August, September.
August. I'm tired of it.
I bet you are. How will that impact you when it comes to harvest?
Well, they tell me it's a piece of cake
Okay.
compared to my knee.
So you got
You have
erosion
a
on
new
this.
My knee still hurts. It's 5 years
The way I
ago.
understand it, that's.
But they tell me now, I'm going
And when it
to
hits that corner,
Poso,
it's so turbulent.
Indian,
Yes.
and I'm not messing with.
And it's so turbulent when it hits that corner. it
And
comes back into its
they
bed.
got a way
I
of going
can
in
get
through
that.
the front where they used to go in through the back, and they don't cut near as much, and he said 2 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks.
Have his hip replaced.
Huh?
Your hip?
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll be a real easy procedure
Done?
for you.
Everybody tells me that's pretty easy.
Done and done.
Sailed through it.
Yes.
Getting them.
I was gonna wait till winter, but I can't. I've had enough.
Yeah.
You too. I will do that. All right, guys, have a good weekend when you get to it.
You're fine.
I think I'm the only one who hadn't signed that.
And then I left a piece of paper at home as well.
What's new?
I'm trying to get some paving done. You know me, my production goals, I get all.
They said it's supposed to stop by daybreak, but
you go.
it
I
hadn't.
think it's over now.
It's like the start of the week, I have things I want to get done, and then Mother Nature conspires to prevent me.
Believe me, it interrupted everything I did in the spring, so.
It's like, we just want to get some work done, Mother Nature, you can just give us a couple.
I never have that trouble.
I should sit at the coffee shop with the farmers and bitch about the same stuff. I can't pay. We're almost, let's just sit here and drink coffee.
That'd be interesting.
So slow, right?
Well, your income hadn't went down this year, has it?
It's been stable.
Ours has.
It's been stable, so.
Corn's dropped 50 cents in the last 2 weeks. Which would be 12, 14%.
Now?
Cash corn for fall would be about 380 something.
All the guys are hoping it's gonna stay over 4.
Cash costs are probably
No, we have
450.
not.
They're gonna get some.
Did you do?
It ain't over yet.
No steak dinners when you get over 4.
Some of it did. Some of it didn't.
But there's a lot of time to go.
No.
But there's also cash flow that enters into all that, Gary.
I hear you.
I mean, I got it though. But thank you for the reminder.
Sarah, will you keep these for me?
Yes. Yeah, no, I've been.
Yeah, I've been doing that for a while.
It's probably down there. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good thing. Sometimes I wonder myself.
I've got a bill. You didn't never see him when I first had him? This is my second go around.
I don't know. There it is. So I'm moving down one, is that the story?
Yep. And Bill is too.
Okay. Thank you. I feel like I was getting ready to do something.
I
Oh.
had some other stuff. I know that's it.
I'm going right here.
Yeah. What do you
I
think?
get this at home.
I was looking for
At home too? I do.
photos of
Well, it's called dispersed.
The 30.
I did. No, I'm good. Thanks.
Huge. So it's.
Here, I need your push out.
Oh.
I just spilled coffee.
At least I kept it to myself.
I don't know how far you want to go.
Have another exec.
Hey, did you talk to Brad?
No, I haven't. We could do that real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying those standard ones?
Yes. I didn't have trouble with what they presented. The RFQ was in there too.
I mean, I use Scott's, my attorney, so we use our own set of contracts. We do the drainage board, you're gonna use theirs. Keep it simple though, it's not, that's not a terribly complex project. That's a real simple project.
Yeah. It's just so muggy, it's hard to breathe.
Hey, Gary. I'm spending like the first half of the year unwinding all the DUI stuff.
I need to say, I just want to introduce myself to you. I am working with Jason. Projects. You run the show for them.
My husband's right behind you.
I do not, but I do count the cases. So if you walk in, that's interesting. Thanks.
Look over eventually. Which,
Yeah, Jason's on the same shape. Okay.
And then just your signature.
Grayson, I just emailed that to you. So if you don't get it, let me know.
Can I date it today?
You can date it. Okay. Nice to meet you.
Donation. I wish.
The whole family's here. Gary.
It is great, is it? Obviously. That's it.
Remember the first meeting, we always start late.
That's all right.
You've missed me, haven't you?
You know, I really have.
Did you? I sent you those videos.
I got them, and I'm going to send them to Brad.
Well, she's got a clearer picture of that one. She didn't send that to me.
Oh,
Good morning. Good morning. How are you? Wonderful. You?
That's not right.
yeah.
I was just gonna chime in on the upward impact fee.
Redway and things and
This presentation.
Which one of our LOIs had the most?
I don't got no money.
When you bring up impact fees, you're gonna have a full house.
And we are gonna have some
Oh,
hearings.
don't let her hear. You know, she can probably hear you.
They started.
I'm sorry?
Not too late, but we should have done it years
I can't
ago.
hear you.
That way we could have actually planned. We have no money for the parcel.
And
No,
we also should probably, I don't know if there's other names.
You know, you're awful brave when she's not standing right there, George.
I can't recall. We talked about this on the planning commission years ago.
Well, you're still breathing.
Impact fees for all these housing developments that were going in, you know. And we thought, no, we probably shouldn't call them.
But the thing is, that's
Doesn't
what
that scare you?
They are.
they're affecting.
I feel like she's not a person that makes empty threats.
You know what I mean? You're not going to get that. You're already done, okay? But every new homeowner comes in,
There'll be a
and
impact.
that's the way it should be. You're coming to our community.
You're the ones that want the.
Yeah, you're wanting the amenities. You're, I mean,
Gotta pay.
yes.
I think, the legal part of it's
Yeah.
in place to go.
What's hard at you guys is not septic.
I know that works too. And when it comes to the park department, they cost a lot of money. A lot of money.
I'm a little nervous about it.
Well, right now,
I've been doing the legal for, not, I mean, it's part of the county job.
as long as we're
They
doing
should have a
trails,
lawyer.
cost way down.
It's going, it's probably 10 times worse. I'm going on vacation.
Yeah,
Don't buy the land.
the land, I mean, all
Just
that
the
kind of,
liability.
yeah.
Years ago, it was the Carmel part.
How many copies?
She's got a rich friend in Cape Cod.
Yeah.
Get a tort, I remember 3 days
Yeah.
when something falls off the jungle gym.
That's true. We got, that's true.
And I know the city, I mean,
The donation. Elderly folks. So that was where they could do some good, get it donated, and then make it.
well, the city benefited from Thornwood down here. I mean, that has been,
I don't know if there's, I don't know who's got connections to it. Back then, there was people on that hospital up there in Carmel that knew these Hazel Dell. Knew these elderly worth, well.
and they got it straight named
Hazel
after 'em.
Dell.
Yeah, they did. They did,
I wonder if one day
exactly.
there'll be a Janine Gray or Gary McDaniel.
There you
Probably
go.
not. Might be at the cemetery.
Well, you don't wanna have the jail named after poor Malcolm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but,
that's not the way you want it to happen.
no, usually means you're dead, but
Yeah,
that's,
exactly. You're gone. But anyway, I know that they're,
I was gonna say, it's quite.
no problem.
all right,
Okay,
Good.
okay.
clear, clear, clear.
I go to bed right now.
Oh, I do too, like,
Sorry, I had the house in the house. Yeah.
not a problem. She said she can do that and she's gonna do that.
Well, it looks like I got no harm, no foul. Good Lord.
Here's your issue.
Oh, shit.
Literally what it starts with H. Yeah.
Put these away.
Yes, paper.
I was
Randy?
gonna tell you this.
Doing all right? Be seeing you tomorrow.
They'll do a presentation.
Oh, yeah, I saw your email that you were going over tonight and meeting your counterpart over there.
Nobody really,
So,
it's kind of just.
details.
I want to structure.
It would be the start of the
So,
process.
let's, but
It's gotta be public.
at this point, it's still a no-brainer. They gotta move it
You know,
Well, I don't know, Scott, if like, it was.
because it's only a matter of time if they put something else on top of it.
Last thing I almost forgot to talk to you about.
And it gets closer to the total.
Amendment to the ordinance planning.
I guess I'm not going that. Yeah, that door turned.
yeah.
Well, I don't mind sitting here, but at the same time, I don't want to affect an icon.
It's an easy decision.
Yeah, it is.
Very easy.
Sir, you're going to have to come and sit here and guide me through this new agenda here, because it's,
I know, it's very busy, isn't it?
There's a lot of stuff there, and all the
I
new,
think they icy cook.
all the new information and that you have to have
Wow.
on it.
I know.
Oh,
It's not fun to play with all year either.
yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
it's very
morning, good
exciting.
morning. How you doing? All right.
If it's.
Hey, Randy. Oh, wow, okay. Got some new good stuff here.
Did you
Yeah,
email
that's the
her
new
already?
agenda
Yeah. All right.
format.
Oh, you
Are
already
you
put it up?
ladies?
Girls ready? No.
Oh,
Are
okay.
you guys ready?
Are you ladies ready?
Yes,
You
sir.
all right? Okay, you commissioners, you ready to go?
Ready to go.
We'll call back to order our regular meeting. First item up on our agenda is a highway update from our highway engineer, Gary Poole.
Good morning. First item I have is signature sheet for the 300 North project. This is DES number 2003-034. This project will be let this winter. It's being constructed on 300 North between 6 West and 7 West. This is just the title sheet. I've already reviewed the plans, as have a myriad of other people. We get more restrictions each year, and we're satisfied with them. Boxes are on the top, and Deborah, you'll have to sign this one as well.
Okay.
The plan sheet.
Make a motion to approve DES number 2003034 PE, and its projects, 300 North improvements, as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the NDOT 300 North improvements as presented. The DES number is
Up one on there.
2003034 as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Got it.
It's usually a full-size sheet. I just don't want to hand that around. And if it's Mylar, you'll all be bleeding.
It has its trade-offs.
Yes, it does.
For the visually challenged like me, it's a little...
Mylar sheet is, you'll bleed for it. It's. And then Ms. Carnes will need to sign it as well. The next item is a bridge. The New Palestine Bridge 120 is complete. They were slightly under budget. A good job to EMB and Ryan Hartley managing that project for me. It's open and running. It seems to be running well. It's a little smoother than the old bridge, so we're happy with that. And as I said in the previous meeting, New Pal is going to pass an ordinance to reduce the load on that road to 10 tons. Don't be panicked, though. The bridge is still capable of holding a snare load, but keep a little bit of the rattling off of it because it is wood underneath there. 600 West is underway. The full closure is still underway. We are still on schedule to have that open on the 31st of July. That's the 600 West, 300 South intersection. Everything's moving. Well, it's raining today, but we're moving along on it. So we
When
should.
schools start out there.
Schools start at the beginning of August, right at the start of August.
And will there be any, I know you said full closure until, but any partial openings as they complete pieces of that roundabout like there was with the 200?
There may be.
South,
We'll
6
see.
West.
The primary objective is have it open before school. If we get ahead, we might start doing some partial openings.
Gotcha. All right.
Once it opens, it'll be northbound again for the remainder of the year until the rest of the paving is done. Then it'll be open to full traffic movements. We may, depending on how far we get into the year, have to redo the surface just at the beginning of next year, but that'll only take a week or so. But we'll see. I'll be in Florida next week with my family. So I'll be out. Ms. Scheidler's out as well. So if you have any contacts, get with Mr. Durham, my superintendent who's sitting behind me to the right.
Paul, you're in charge.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
He'll get everything fixed, and you guys will have me fired by the time I get back. Those put me on my misery. Like, Paul, all my stuff's packed up and gone. Why is my office empty? Dwayne Stanley, our foreman, passed his Road Scholar program. We're very proud of him on that. That was good work for him.
Awesome.
Just educate himself. Paul and Dwayne do a good job of making sure we're trying to build the best product we can for the public, and making sure we know the we're getting new stuff. Even our pavement we're using this year's new. Like, we're adjusting all the time for the environment, traffic loads and stuff, and I'm grateful those guys keep up on it. This fall, we have it covered, but the funds are short in RDC, Bridge, and Cume Cap. We have 3 different lettings. I've already mentioned this before. I'm getting my Plan Bs together. You'll notice the main thing of that is in the budget hearings, you'll notice I've kept a lot of working capital in Cume Bridge to be able to make loans and cover us from short terms there. So when you see $4 million of money unallocated in there, and George, you're usually paying attention to this, that is for a reason. That's not an oversight. That is a Plan B in case we can't get the grants that we want. Pinchot Trail from 3 West to 4 West is complete. It might be our best section of trail if you get a chance to get out there and walk it. I'm very proud of the guys got that paved. It looks really good. And I'm grateful for the people that got the land for us. Mary Ann was able to get the land for us on that. So
It is a nice spot. I had the opportunity to go out there with you and Miriam the other day, and you get a chance, guys, to go out and walk on it. I haven't went at night yet. Kind of looking forward to see what that impregnated pavement looks like at the end at 3 West. But
interesting
it's a surprise.
Term. Yes. There's a special surprise at night out there with what's impregnated in the pavement.
Right.
So.
What is it?
That scares me.
I know.
Well, I'd ruin the surprise if I told you.
Go check it out.
Like
Go
what
check
time
it
of
out.
night?
Get pregnant if you go out there.
I can guarantee you that.
Do you want me to ruin the surprise? You're my boss. It's glow in the dark rocks.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yes, it is cool.
So I guess Gary and I have to go out at midnight, huh?
Yes.
That's right.
Okay. A field trip is tomorrow. I'm going to miss out on that. Kids want to go early to Florida, so you guys are my bosses, but I have another boss that even outranks you guys called my wife. Taking them to the airport at 2:30 tomorrow, so I'll be missing the trip. I've already talked to Randy. Randy's going to search out utility rates. Hopefully his counterpart, Randy, will be meeting with this evening. Hopefully he has some information on it. Because the public's very concerned about utility rates, right? Mm-hmm. So we need to get that validated, and we need to know for sure as well. Noise, things like that, you'll be able to tell tomorrow. So I will unfortunately not be there, but there's so many smart people going, I'm probably not really needed. So, but I'm curious. Get some video around the property line, please, for me. And
Will do. You got my decibel meter and ready to go.
You might be able to put it on your phone.
It is already.
So you'd be good to go. And then compare it to something around here like a house. We had, and I'm grateful to the consultants on this, we had a lot of LOIs on all of our projects. A lot of that's because you guys are easy to work with as commissioners. We appreciate that because it's not easy doing projects. It really brings people, projects are unpleasant for people near the projects. They're generally going to be against them just because they don't quite understand what's going on with them because no one's going to, they're so complex even inside the business things. But you guys are good at letting the projects complete. And that shows to the state why we get the grants, and it also gets, the consultants are good enough. It costs them money to apply for things, so we appreciate that. But we had 14 on one. I've never seen, have you guys ever heard of one getting 14 on it? That's the more LOIs than I've ever had for any work in my career, so that's pretty cool. Even more cool, Brad, we didn't have any fatalities last night, did we, on county roads? Not that Brad and I didn't see it. If Brad doesn't know about it and I didn't see it on my thing, we're probably good. Hey, we're past that 12 months. Let's try to get that is excellent news.
Congratulations, everybody, and thank you.
Yeah, the sheriff's worked really hard on enforcement. We're working hard on grants. Paul and the guys are working hard on different things and a lot of luck.
And a lot of good places for four-way stops.
Yep. We're using science. We are using science. Brad's using science to get things and the people skills that the highway department doesn't have. But I'm really proud of that. I'm hoping we get through the rest of the year. This is the dangerous time of year, but we can get there. And the news was good enough to do an article and encourage people to pay attention and to buckle up. If we could just do those two things, it helps a great deal. I did look at your buckle up tickets have gone down a couple percent. So we knew when we did the buckle up phone down thing that we wouldn't get everybody, but it has had some effect. Just looking on the ticket writing software. Obviously, people are not going to wear the seatbelts, some of them, but some of them have decided they're going to wear seatbelts, or at least we're not writing as many tickets for it. So I don't know. Jack and Sons. We've spoken with them a couple times. I'll be sending an appraiser out there to appraise the rest of that land, and I've worked with the mayor a little bit on this. At some point, if it gets to something workable, to come back to the commissioners to say, do we want to build a bridge out there or not?
Right.
But I'm trying to get all that into some coalesce of what an agreement would even look like before we do that. And then I got to run it by Scott. But it's moving forward. It's something that could happen. Condemnation, Scott, I think the last ones we have really active are on 300 North.
Now we
So
just
hopefully,
have one now because of what NDOT did.
Yep. I've been working on my side too.
Obviously. You
I'm
obviated the need to do the rest of those, so.
I'm doing my best, but I can't get that last one done. So hopefully we get the things back on that thing.
I think on that one, they have to provide the report by like August 3rd.
And hopefully that'll be our last thing, and that'll be the last of the 3 projects we just talked about that will be on time. Amplify update, I've got a plan B for the drainage that was going to cost a great deal. And I believe I'll be able to save about 60%, if not more, of the cost on that. So that'll save the county, what is it, $500,000?
Do we know how soon that will begin?
I've had to publicly bid it, so I got to finish that up. So probably within a month. Probably worth it for $600,000.
It is, and it keeps everybody on their timelines, I think, as well.
Yep. It's getting it's supposed to be the dry time of year, so hopefully we're good on that. And I've said on the 9 SCAR security devices, they're still working on that as well. If you look at the other side of the, I just want to point out something. A lot of these projects are for safety, but they're also a lot of economic development type projects. When I started here, we were still about the same. Our poverty level throughout the county was about 16%. That was on line with the rest of the state. I pulled up the estimates. You can see the little explanation points by them for population. This is from the United States Census. If you look at the bottom, this is something that's important. So people aren't dying on the roads. That's good. But they've got jobs. We're at a poverty rate of 5.7%. That's down from 16% several years ago. And a lot of that's targeted. This is straight from thing. Now the states has come down too. They came from 16 down to, the United States is at 11.1 and Indiana's at 12.3. We've come down to 5.7. It's got the exclamation point because it's averaging it. It's estimating it for 2024. But we should be proud of that. I think we've really targeted making sure that we have a good arrangement of employment opportunities. And you guys should feel good about that because not all the policies are popular and not all of the stuff, but I do want you to know that they've been effective. Our accidents are down, our people have jobs and are not in poverty. You guys should feel good as a government about that. We screw up plenty of stuff, sure, but in general, using the science has been working, especially nowadays where, there's so much stuff on the news just makes government bad, government bad, government bad. It's made up of people that are from your community and they're trying to do good. And I think they have done good in this case, yourselves and people before you. So keep that in mind when you're struggling through all the stuff we're working on. All right. But we're also in a good spot too. So keep that in mind. We're in a good spot. We're not desperate for anything.
No.
That is all I have for today.
Safe travels with your family to Florida. Take a look out the window and you can see us down there in Ohio when you're up in the air, and enjoy the sun.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary, thank you.
Deb, I think we're getting closer to gap accounting too. I know this population doesn't get there yet, but we're getting closer.
Oh, she's thrilled.
We're just holding that off until the end of 2026.
Term, right?
Right. Derek Adams. You have waited. Oh, hang on just a second, Derek.
Just a piece on that population data.
All right.
So between 2010 and 2020, the county grew 9,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Between 2020 and 2024, the county grew 9,000 people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's why we're probably one of the fastest growing counties in the state of Indiana.
we are. We were 2 last year, number 1 2 years ago. It's us in Boone County.
I don't see it letting up anytime soon.
No, so last year, I gave a report out on this a couple months ago. So last year, the county and all the towns in the city all together issued 954 single-family building permits. 516 of them were in courts. But my little town's just blowing up, so it's not a little town anymore.
Right,
See you
right.
guys tomorrow.
Thanks, Randy. Okay, Derek, come on up.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
In front of you, you should have my enforcement action report from that nuisance pool over on Threshing Court in Cumberland. We were finally able to get some resolution on that after some hiccups and a couple setbacks. We were able to get contractors. Highway was able to get everything worked out to supply us the fill material. So you have some pictures. I took some before, some after, and some during pictures so that you can see some of the work that we did there. As you can see, that pool has looked like that for, coming on 4 years now. So we're glad to get this one taken care of and have that community not have to deal with the mosquito nuisance anymore. That's really the big thing to take away from this, is that we were able to serve the public health for $3,000 and get this taken care of.
And it actually was in McCordsville, Cumberland.
Yeah, it was within the Cumberland town limits, but it was
But
on
the health
Hancock.
department actually had to do it to
Yeah.
take care of the people.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that was still a sticking point that I had with
Yeah.
the town of Cumberland, and I'm gonna make a concerted effort this year to work a little bit closer with them to try to get some of their stuff up to snuff as far as public health regulations.
Well, now that they're no longer part of Unigov, maybe they can do some different stuff.
Yeah, and that's going to be an interesting one because they are going to have some Marion County, they are going to have some Hancock County. We're going to have different rules and regs than they are. So it's going to be interesting trying to work with them as they become their own entity and who provides what services and what they can expect from who. But toward the end there, you can see we did get the pool completely filled in. The fill material that we got had chunks of concrete, chunks of asphalt, so we used that to our advantage. And the company that we used, Audrey's Outdoor Solutions, they were able to take their Bobcat and basically lift those up as high as they could, drop them in the bottom, and split that fiberglass insert so that it doesn't hold water. Very high clay content there, so we expect that to shed water pretty well, not be a further nuisance on the property. And then the last page is just a narrative that explains, how that day went. It did take us probably close to 9 or 10 hours to get everything done. We didn't stop for lunch. We just had trucks coming and going. Bobcat was running back and forth. I got to sit on a bucket for 10 hours and watch him do it. So it was a good time for me. Applied the SPF 30 heavily that day.
I bet.
So we did use 6 triaxles of fill material to fill it in. We got all the work done roughly 4:30, and then just final cleanup. We were off the site by 5 o'clock. So that one has come to a close. I just wanted to give you an update so you can take that one off your plate. We did submit the $3,000 invoice to our contractor for payment, and that'll be getting sent over to our attorney, Greg Morlock, to be applied as a property tax lien as soon as that's paid in full, and we can get that over to him.
Thanks for all your hard work on that.
Thank you.
Because I know it was a long stretched out deal, so.
It was, but we have a finish line now, and I appreciate all the support and getting through it. So.
Your persistence is definitely appreciated, and now we know what to do. We have a pool we need to get filled up and have to jump through some hoops.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've already had 4 more abandoned pool complaints this year.
Wow.
Not knowing about the issue that we were having in Cumberland. So I don't expect it to get to this extent with every pool that we have, but I do have 4 more abandoned pools that I'm going to be working on here coming up with enforcement action.
Now, are they in ground or above ground?
A couple of both. We have a couple that are more out in the country, out in the county, that are above ground. One of them is a particularly interesting case that I've enforced on before, and I'm trying to work with the homeowner to come up with a resolution on that one because they want to save the pool, but they don't really treat it right to save the pool. So I'm trying to work with them on a way that they can keep the pool but not cause it to be a hazard. And then there are a couple in-grounds, specifically here in Greenfield, that are issues, especially in the older neighborhoods. Folks have moved in and not. Be working on those moving forward, and hopefully I don't have to come talk to you about it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right,
Sounds good.
Thank you.
I don't know if Mr. Schrader's in the room or not. Are you? Yes. Sam Schrader, Baker Tilly, come on up.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name Sam Schrader. I'm with Baker Tilly Municipal Advisors, and we've had the opportunity to work alongside, Caleb Brooks, Marion, and the Zone Improvement Plan Advisory Committee over the past little over a year now, to bring this project, before you all and continue down the necessary steps to hopefully adoption of a park impact fee for the county. I think you all have the draft, or excuse me, I think we have a final version now that should be available of the zone improvement plan. I'm not going to go through schedule by schedule. I think it would bore you all. I'm going to kind of go through the nuts and bolts, what are park impact fees, how they're calculated, what does it mean for Hancock County, what's the amount. And if you all have questions along the way, please don't hesitate to stop me. But essentially, park impact fees are utilized throughout communities in the state of Indiana and around the country, to support new development. So that's the emphasis, new development. The park impact fee will only be charged to new residential units. So existing residents in Hancock County would never be burdened by this impact. Ultimately, the purpose of the park impact fee is to provide a resource to, coming park department to facilitate new capital projects and park infrastructure so that they provide sufficient service to those new residents as that population grows. Once the revenues are captured, they can be spent on park amenities to support that new population, but not maintenance of what is existing or operational expenditures. So again, the thought is this is a tool, and it's it's pretty limited given the mechanics, but it is one of the several tools that the Parks Board and Parks Department has to try to combat and grow the park impact, or the park inventory, as that population grows. We want to make sure that we're able to provide sufficient service to a growing population, and this is one way to do that. Any questions on that? So in terms of calculating the impact fee amount, there are really three major drivers in the calculation. And the first is the population and projected new housing data. So we worked directly with the county planning and building department to build out a 10-year estimate as required by state statute. The park impact fee, it's important to note that it will only be active for a 5-year period, but the planning period, again, as defined in statute, is 10 years. So you can see on page 6, if you'd like to flip to that page, you don't have to, but that page details those projections that we've included for new housing units and new population. So you'll see there that we are looking at multifamily units in addition to single-family homes. The second main driver in the calculation would be the level of service standards that are provided by an outside company, Pros Consulting. And those are reviewed by the committee and essentially set a standard that states what Hancock County deems as sufficient service for each park amenity. If you were to flip to page 7, you could kind of see exactly what I'm referring to. And for example, kind of go through one. So these are separated, which I'll get to that designation in a second. But essentially what Pros Consulting studies have done and what the impact fee has reinforced is that, for example, neighborhood parks, we are targeting 5 acres per 1,000 people. And again, you can kind of go down those amenity lines to see what that, specific target is for each amenity. We've identified on this page the specific amenities that are going to be included for impact fee purposes. We could have included everything, but in this first phase, so to speak, we wanted to kind of target accessibility and kind of low cost, low utility amenities, knowing that a lot of the other amenities are kind of covered by the cities and towns within the county, schools, and things of that nature. And again, we just didn't want to bite off more than we could chew right off the bat. So this is what the impact fee committee thought was an appropriate starting point for the impact fee. The third driver in the impact fee calculation is the cost per amenity. Again, that's something we relied on from Pros Consulting. That's on page 9 here. So again, you can kind of see what that estimate is currently standing. And the one tricky component of this is the land portion. So we see land values vary so frequently amongst communities that we actually looked at some recent acquisitions of land that the county had made to essentially kind of appraise what the acre of a land would, 1 acre of land would cost in Hancock County specifically. So that's where we arrived at that 22,500. It's probably a little bit conservative, but essentially that coupled with data from Pros Consulting is how we arrived at these assumptions. Now, with those 3 drivers in mind, the summary of the calculation is provided on page 5. So now let's flip backwards, if you don't mind. And if we kind of work from the top down here, the $1.4 million number is the estimated cost of meeting amenity needs driven by that population growth over the 10-year horizon. So the detailed breakdown can be seen on page 12, so that'll show you exactly what amenities contribute towards that number to get to that bottom line $1.4 million number. But I can tell you the largest percentage comes from some park acreage and unpaved trails. Just in nature, unpaved trails are a more costly amenity. But ultimately, what this tells us is that after all the current deficits are met, there will be $1.4 million additionally that would need to be funded to spend on new amenities to meet the level of service standard targets after the growth in population occurs over the next 10 years. We then take that $1.4 million number and divide it by the number of housing units for the 10-year horizon. As you can see, just shy of 3,500. And that's where we arrive at what that fee would be per unit. So that's that $412, which is proposed as the park impact fee implemented by Hancock County. One thing to note here, you see some line items and allowances for some credits to the calculation, such as a current park budget, bond payments, things like that. That's obviously not applicable in the case of Hancock County right now, given the state and recency of establishment of the park board. But it may be something that would be applied in the future and would go towards, again, determining what that park impact fee amount is. I will open it up. Questions? I know I threw a lot of information at you. I can answer. I would love to do that. I will say we presented this to the park board a couple weeks ago. They provided a favorable recommendation to move forward with this process. So we are bringing it to you all, commissioners, this morning in the hopes that there could also be the potential for another favorable recommendation if you guys are comfortable with us continuing down the exploration of this implementation. Would then go to the Plan Commission in a couple meetings and then back to you all in August.
So the impact fees would sunset after 5 years.
Correct.
Do we have any idea what it will cost us to maintain parks and areas after that goes away? Or is this just to build the parks and then we have to figure out how to maintain them after that?
So it's a good question. So in terms of maintenance, again, the park impact fee can't be used for maintenance costs. So that's going to kind of be determined through the budgeting process for the park board. However, to answer your question, it's a rolling park impact fee. So it expires in 5 years, but that also allows you the opportunity to renew it or establish a new park impact fee after we've done a similar study to, again, kind of see where the population is, what the growth is expected to be, and again, where those park inventories are currently
And
landing.
if we reestablish that impact fee at the end of 5 years, then that would no longer affect the homes that were built in that 5 years. It would be new homes or residences coming in after that, correct?
That's correct, yes. I will say the The park impact fee would become active 6 months after adoption of the impact fee ordinance. So again, August. So after 6 months, that would go into effect. So next February, excuse me, then would be active for 5 years after that, giving you all, again, the opportunity after that 5 years to renew it or, again, kind of refresh this.
I'm looking at neighborhood parks, regional parks, preserves, open space, trails, unpaved trails, shelters, dog park, canoe, kayak launch, fishing dock. Is that going to affect our liability for the county? If someone, let's say I was putting my kayak out on the launch and I slipped and fell on algae and hit my head, are people going to file a tort claim against us and come back and expect us to pay for that because that's our property?
Probably could.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will. Not only will they, but the park board, you know, that we'll have to kind of have our insurance cover those things. There will be an expansion of coverage.
And with that expansion would, of course, be dollars.
Yep, that will cost.
It
would be necessary to have, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a risk of park inventory for sure.
And we are now self-insured on the property and liability gamut, so, you know, that's something we really need to take into tremendous consideration.
Would we have the ability to go back and revisit the amount of the fee before the 5 years? Or do you have to wait out the 5 years before you can say, okay, now we want to do our reassessment? And the reason I ask that is just because as the first or second fastest growing community in the state of Indiana, some things change. And I'm like, I don't know if we can wait the 5 year period at that rate, which I think the predicted rate was like $400 and some, is a very reasonable, you know, rate, depending on some other communities that you hear their rates are in the.
Yeah, you are able to reconvene early if you'd like to. That's just the limit in which you would need to, you know, reapprove the ordinance. And I do think, you know, to your point, for two reasons, I think it makes sense. One, the growing population, and two, just the recency in which the park board was established. So if you see, again, that inventory in a lot of areas start to take off, and then you want to revisit the fee amount or say non-park impact fee amenities that we had excluded, now it makes sense to maybe start to include some of those and start spending some impact fee dollars on those. You can do that. So yeah, you're limited to a 5 year term. But you can renew it sooner. I don't think we see a ton of communities do that, at least not, you know, within a year or so. But I don't think there's any statute that I'm aware of that requires you or limits you to not be able to do that. And you're right. I will say, just for reference, I have park impact fees for some of the incorporated communities in the county. I have McCordsville at 1,680 currently, and Greenfield at 1,764. So again, they're obviously dealing with a lot more amenities. So it makes sense for maybe a larger fee. And again, you know, with the county's fee just getting off the ground, that kind of limits your ability to impose a larger fee. But again, very conservative starting point for the county.
I think I'm satisfied with that fee, you know, right off the start. I just didn't know if we were going to be able to have the opportunity to change it before a 5 year period or not, if we desired. Okay.
Is there in this document like a code that dictates, or is it the ordinance itself that dictates what the impact fee could be used?
We can get you the
If you could,
code.
just because.
Yeah, we'll get you the code citation. Yeah.
Make sure that we're not spending it where we.
I know we dug that up throughout the process, so we have it handy. We can get that.
Okay.
Whoever else would find it. That's a good resource. Yeah.
I'd make a motion for a favorable recommendation.
So it's been moved and seconded that we offer a favorable recommendation on this Hancock County impact fee plan as presented by Baker Tilly. Is there anything else you need us to add to that motion to continue this to drive forward?
I would defer to council, but I don't believe so.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
This enables it to go to the
Adoption
plan
will
commission.
happen back in August.
Right, there's another there are public
Yes.
hearings and
Yep.
things that have to take place.
And I'll say too, we're kind of going a little bit above and beyond in terms of presenting this in public settings. Just again, since it's so new, we didn't have to go to the park board, but we wanted to get that support from them. It doesn't have to go to the commissioners twice, but again, we just want everybody to feel comfortable and have time to digest it, get those questions out there. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing else required.
But if we chose to maybe $412 prior to all the signing and all the legal things that are taking place, that if we felt it was necessary after talking with our insurance company.
So, and maybe I wasn't clear here in terms of when the park impact fee is charged. So let me clarify that. Again, there's that 6-month wait period in terms of when it can actually be charged. And then at that point, it'll be charged anytime a new building permit is pulled. So does that answer your question or help clarify things?
She wants to know if we could raise it.
Oh, the $412 number is the maximum based on this study. So it would take, again, reevaluating in 3 or 5 years or whenever you guys thought that would be necessary or appropriate. Yeah, good question. Sorry, I misunderstood.
That's okay.
And then
Probably wasn't clear.
we do that, we can engage our liability insured, ask us how much this is potentially going to cost us in additional liability coverage. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Mr. Schrader?
I'm sorry, I have 2 more questions. We have an invoice here. So I just want to understand, number one, I can't, I'm not able to create a fund for impact fees until they've been established. So today's motion establishes those fees? Is that what's happened here?
Not yet.
I think it just approves their impact fee plan.
Yeah, give them a favorable recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's got to go back, and then we have to have a public hearing here.
Okay.
There will be an
So
ordinance,
I'll hold
too.
on establishing that, but that we do have an invoice here.
Mm-hmm.
There was minutes from 2023. I think Miriam might have talked to you about that. And there's one portion of that, not to exceed 30,000, which we have a bill here for, that doesn't exceed that. So I just need to know where you want this paid from. And then, and I don't understand the difference on the 2 charges.
Yeah.
Miriam was kind enough to try to explain it to me right before I walked in, but I didn't get that down pat, so.
At the time we did it last year, I thought we were paying it out of a remainder of commissioners' contractual.
Well, the
that's
problem
what
was
I
it was
was-
2023, and so we don't have 2023 money anymore that appropriated. I've got some places that we can pay it out of, but I didn't know what the difference was between
So
first bill and the second bill.
Yes, so good question. In that original agreement, there was 2 different kind of scope of services. I will admit that I wasn't involved in the first version with the $30,000 not to exceed amount, but it's my understanding that that's completed and was already incurred and paid for. I will confirm that. What we are working on now is that second portion with the $40,000 not to exceed. So I think the bill you have is around $21,000. We'll have a
Yeah.
little bit of cleanup. We're going to be below that 40,000. But hopefully that clarifies the uses and different.
It does, because I was like, why would we get a bill now for, so that should have already been paid for.
The 30,000, I believe, and I'm going to follow up with you all on that because I wish I had a better answer. I'm sorry. That was
Perfect.
a little bit before I was working on Hancock County myself. So, but I will get you an answer on that just to confirm. But it is my understanding that that's all complete. So there's nothing else that would be incurred for that first portion.
So can we continue to work with you in the office to maneuver around through our budget and potential
Absolutely,
to
and I
find
have
out?
some places that we can pay this from.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that clarification.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all for having me.
Thank you.
Let me know if you have any questions in, between the next meeting. I'm happy to.
Sure.
No, I don't need it. I'm good.
Yeah.
Call who?
Can we, Sarah, can you call John Jaconis and Bernie and see if they're available? And then we can just run through some simple things down here on our action items.
And you guys just took care of, action items.
Okay. And I'll take a motion to approve claims and payroll.
Make a motion to approve claims and payroll.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve claims and payroll as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Any auditor business?
We do have auditor business. We have an invoice for legal services that we can pay it from your miscellaneous food and beverage. We can pay it from contractual.
Do we actually have a miscellaneous food and beverage line? Really?
You
Okay.
do. And you also, our fund that we established for the Legis Group, that I double checked. We've been paying their fees out of your other legal fee line.
Okay.
So we've got money there that could also pay this, but I kind of like to clean that up, make some adjustments, and move it back to the designated line for Legis. Because that was, we've paid up to $17,000 already. I feel like it should be being paid out of there. We were paying, I think, out of contractual, so I'd kind of like to switch that back around. But I can pay this bill wherever you want me to, but I was holding on you guys deciding where you wanted Baker Tilly that we just discussed paid from so that we could.
I think there's a legal line for us to pay within there, but it's going to need more monies added to it from a council request. So I don't think we have to create any new area, but I'd like to keep the, and I think maybe the commissioners would agree this too, is just keep any kind of the lobby separate.
So you okay if we go ahead and make those adjustments? I think what happened is we didn't have that line established at
Right.
first. Until it got established, we paid out a contractual, and I think that's where it's been getting paid out of. So we want to make those adjustments and get that correct.
And then there's another, I think, legal line in there that we pay Scott some out of as well too, and maybe that's where all that just gets poured back into.
We can make those adjustments, and I'll go ahead and pay this out of the line that we're going to adjust, put that $17,000 back.
Okay.
Are you good with that?
We're good with that.
And
That was easy to say.
do we need to get on council's agenda and ask for a little bit more money on the side?
I would think that we're getting word on that. You might want to. Yeah.
Do you have
Right.
a recommendation of how much might be the appropriate ask?
I would think some of the legal stuff that
I know after what we were told about the potential, it asks for substantial amount to just be safe and to cover that. I mean, we can always give that back if all that fund is not used up. Yes, we do need to ask for more than was in there, because I think when the fund itself started this year, there was just $7,500 in there. It was a really small amount.
had some things come up. And the other thing that I need is, you guys had already motioned on animal control. Sarah, what was the situation with this?
Recommendation to council, the budget, but the contract was just never signed. There's just a little slight ball drop there, so.
So we need to sign.
How much, what's the dollar amount on that?
The one that's here is, where'd I say it? 451,000
So it's just
for a calendar
about
year
the same.
2025 in 2 equal payment installments, July 1st and December 15th.
About the same.
Yeah.
Last year.
So
You guys, everything is all good. I just need you to sign
I-
it because I want to make sure I have it signed before I.
make a motion to sign the animal control contract.
It's been moved and seconded. We sign the animal control contract as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. There is a name on here which needs to be stricken from this
Well, it was
printed
last
copy.
year, you guys voted on it.
Or can we, would it just
It'd
be
be you and
Gary?
I.
Yeah,
Just
I
be
think
Gary
Just
and
be
I?
blank.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, leave that blank, and I think that
So
Calling in.
Janine won't have to sign or
No.
should?
Not have to sign it.
She
Okay.
wasn't here, she can't sign it.
Right.
okay, so we know what we're doing on this.
I understand.
We're good here. Thank you.
And the letter. One, yeah,
So this is.
here's the renaming the rest area.
Right, this letter came, well, it didn't come to us, we created it at the request of Senator Kreider to rename a rest area, and they needed a letter of support. This letter of support I sent back to him last night, and I said, is this good enough? He said, yes, so I'm showing it to you both right now.
I've read it, and
And if
I agree.
you're in approval of submitting this back to him,
I make a motion that we all approve this, renaming rest area at I-70, just outside of Greenfield, to be named in honor of Sergeant Joseph L. McNally, U.S. Army.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded that we approve the letter of support back to Senator Kreider for the potential renaming of the rest park off I-70 at the 107 mile marker in honor of Master Sergeant Joseph L. McNally, U.S. Army. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Yeah.
Then auditor, under your auditor business, I don't know if you remember this or not. I'm thinking I sent this to Sarah, but I sent it to the other two commissioners. There was an RFP that was out there for township trustee information. Did you see that?
I did not.
Before the last time? It was a request to start to gather more
I
information
remember
on
that, yeah.
township trustees because there's a possibility township consolidation is going to be heard in earnest at the State House this year, and the things we may help that. Would you have any issue then having us put out that RFP for just a response?
No problem, because we'd have to be prepared for it anyway.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Might as
So-
well get a jump start.
Yeah.
So if I could just get a motion to put out our RFP for township needs.
I make a motion that we put out an RFP for
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the county issue out a request for proposal for township needs and potential for township consolidation information to be provided. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
About proclamation.
Oh, all right. So we have a Parks and Recreation Month proclamation that I will read. Whereas Parks and Recreation is an integral part of the communities throughout this county, including Hancock County, Indiana, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes health and wellness, improving the physical and mental health of the people who live near parks, and whereas Parks and Recreation promotes the time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance, well-being, and alleviating illnesses such as depression, attention deficit disorders, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities by providing a space for popular sports, hiking trails, swimming pools, and many other activities designed to promote active lifestyles, and whereas Parks and Recreation is a leading provider of healthy meals, nutrition services, and education, and whereas Parks and Recreation programming and education activities such as out-of-school time programming, youth sports, and environmental education are critical to childhood development, and whereas Parks and Recreation increases the community's economic prosperity through increased property taxes, increased property values, expansion of the local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction and retention of businesses, and crime reduction, and whereas Parks and Recreation is fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community, is essential and adaptable infrastructure that makes our communities resilient in the face of natural disasters and climate change, and whereas our parks and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors, and whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas Hancock County recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources, now therefore be it resolved by Hancock County government that July is recognized as Park and Recreation Month in the county of Hancock.
Third, yeah, yes. And doing third, I'm all in agreement.
So we probably ought to be having all our meetings out on trails or in parks if it's good for our mental health. It's not good to be up here doing this stuff. We got mental health issues going on. So that's what that's what I read.
Next week, the Riley Trail.
Right.
We can meet right out here on the trails.
Yeah.
Right.
So at least we can.
As long as it's not raining.
That'd be hard for Bernie to make sure those get live streamed.
He could be out there with his phone.
Go ahead, camera.
Bernie.
So then I take a motion to recess our meeting for solid waste.
Make a motion to recess our meeting for the solid waste board meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We recess our meeting for a solid waste management district meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Miss Dee Dee, we got your pre-budget survey uploaded to Gateway too.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Long time I didn't figure that you would mind, and we went ahead and took care of that.
No.
Where you going? Never know what's gonna happen up there.
We're getting the same way.
All right, let me. Oh, hey, Dad.
Fun.
That's a good analogy.
We're trying. It makes for a long day sometimes.
Wasn't here,
Want
right?
to really
So,
go
yep.
to like a meeting every week. You know, Shelby County has a meeting every Monday. If I'm ready for that. But if we can get taken care of a lot of these meetings in the same day, like normally the drainage board is probably a 15, 20-minute meeting. The solid waste meeting is normally 5 minutes. It takes more time to get set up to do it
Hello, how are
to
you?
put it on. So
Too bad, I'm looking
So far,
forward
so
to
good.
Okay, I don't know what he's going on with these guys.
yeah, and you're like, the part-time political job in me says, no, we need to get it all done at once because I hate going to a separate off-site place.
Hopefully whoever's
I just got back from Florida.
It should be pretty good.
Concert they had.
Free tire disposal, all right.
Record day.
Yeah.
Here, I'll
Every
make
time
more
I say
room for you.
I
Got a lot of
I don't
it.
even know how we made more.
I didn't have to stretch out here.
It was a nice draw. I know how the city did with
Well, the weather.
little rain and then
There you go.
it's beautiful.
Used to have a
Be rude
place
to
down
put
there
this
in
on my
Naples.
neighbor's, stick it, tape it to my neighbor's door. He must have 50
I didn't
tires
get
back
to use
there.
very much.
I thought you were going to ask to
That's
enlarge
the
it like 4x8.
I might be close to it one day.
Closer to retirement.
Oh, no, I think it'd be definitely
Well,
appropriate.
brother that lives in
That's what I want.
San
This is
try to tell that, go visit him and then hit the
February.
beach.
Sure. So.
Hey, Yeah, I know.
Well, do they have to, they deceive or induce compliance? I wonder what that means.
I wonder, but she just told him she was.
How they made it look like water.
I bet it really had water.
As long as it's on.
It is,
You
isn't
think?
it?
Yeah,
Oh, it is.
yeah, I'd like to see the person.
Oh,
who
I
is-
guess, look at it.
We could probably
I think
also.
we have it.
Our
Oh, do we? Okay.
things with you.
But yeah.
Well, that's pretty spiffy.
Are we ready, Mr. President?
Nothing worse.
We're
than
Mr.
that
President.
problem.
You're the president.
You're the president of garbage.
Yeah.
Ask yourself and then answer, Dan.
I'd like to call the Hancock County Solid Waste Management Board to meet to order for our meeting July the 1st, 2025. Our first order of business is to review the minutes from the June 3rd, 2025 meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the June 3rd, 2025 meeting as received.
Second.
It's been moved properly seconded. Do we approve the minutes from the June 3rd, 2025 meeting? Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is passed. Director's report.
All right, our invoices for June include contract, purchase of fuel, sorry, there's a transfer in the budget from fuel to supplies, no, sorry, the other way around. Transfer from supplies to fuel. And then there's also a transfer from mileage to fuel. Verizon bill. And then we have bill purchases. I bought some promotional materials to pay at our community booth. I purchased supplies to build a display booth but bought some from Amazon and some other materials that I need. And then we did some advertising for our new electronics bill or invoice for that new PAL event. Under our event fund is showing the cash and credit cards that we received from the PAL event.
Make a motion to approve invoices as submitted.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Do we approve the invoices as presented? Is there any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is passed.
Okay, so as I said, we had our new PAL shredding and electronics event. We had 84 attendees. It was a pretty steady flow of people. To compare that to the past years that we've done at New PAL, in 2018 we had 91 attendees. So we're just kind of floating right there, just less than 100. Good day. Then we participated with the GIS department and the Stormwater Partnership to have a booth at the Hancock County Fair. So we were there for the entire week. We all took turns manning the booth. So I did create a pollution tank, which I passed that picture down. It was a 5-gallon fish tank that we put in a scene of a street scene. And then there were 6 different pollutants in the tank. And then we asked the kids to try to find everything that was a pollutant. And the kids really got into it. They like to have something to do at the fair booths or at community booths, and we need something to draw them to our booth so we can talk to them. And in the past, we've done the spinning wheel, and well, we kind of got tired of that. We've done that for several years. So we thought this might be a new addition, a good addition, and the parents and kids really seemed to like it. They all kind of got into, a real life seek and find type thing. So it was good. So it was a good week. A little hot, but it was good. I was able to take a tour of ERI, which is Electronic Recyclers Incorporated out in Plainfield. And they do mostly electronic recycling. This is a new thing for them. They just started condensing styrofoam. So now they are starting to take styrofoam. That was pretty cool to see.
And then they are also recycling batteries. So typically the electronics recyclers send those batteries out to be recycled, but now they have the capability to do recycling in-house. So that was kind of interesting to see. So that was a good day. I took the AI training through the County Community Foundation and to just kind of learn how to use AI for your business. It was targeted toward nonprofits, but I've used it a little bit, but it was like, I don't know, a couple years ago, and I wasn't very happy with my results. So I thought I needed a little bit more training on, how to use it and, what things it could be used for. So I actually did use it for the booth display. So I had already built this box with the street scene, and then it's like, okay, how do I engage the public, to talk about pollutants, and how do I get kids' interest in it? And so AI was the one that came up with the idea of putting the different pollutants in there and then having them. They said write it down on a piece of paper, but I decided we'll just have it, a verbal conversation rather than wasting paper. So I did use it and it did work. So I was happy with that. And then we participated in the New Palestine Summer Fest. They had approximately 200 people visit their booth both Friday and Saturday. In the past, we've only done it on Saturday, but this year we added Friday, or they added Friday, I guess I should say. And then under new business, so I volunteered at the 4-H building during Fair Week. I sat there at their welcome table for a couple hours. And I was partnered with the new Purdue Extension homemaker president. And so I got to talking with her and I said, hey, if you want any, recycling programs for your homemakers, I'd be happy to do something. So we're going to talk and maybe do something during the winter for them, just a Recycling 101 basically type program. So that was good. Then I passed out the postcards. We do have our tire collection event coming up on August 9th at Riley Park Tire from 10 to 2. I've already started advertising for that. We've been passing out the postcards at all of our community events for that as well. I will be participating in Hancock County Community Night Out booth. That is July 16th from 8. I'll probably take my pollution tank there as well. And then I did have a resident that called me and was very concerned about there not being an electronic recycling drop-off location. And so I tried to calm him down and, explain our situation and how, we're trying to save money by not having a location, and that our electronics recycler is not too far down the road. So I kind of calmed him down a little bit. But I wanted to know your thoughts on talking to Republic Services to see a partnership with them, if they were to take electronics there on site, and then probably we would ask them to collect, the same fee that we charge at our events. And then we would be responsible for paying for whatever difference there is in having an electronics recycler come and pick up the electronics at their facility whenever they accumulate, enough to warrant a pickup.
Are they set up to take payments?
Well, I think they are because they have the trash drop off there. So residents have to pay for their trash that they bring in. So I would assume that they could handle payments for electronics as well. So I wanted to get your feedback on that to see if you're even interested in that. I don't know what your thoughts are.
Probably worth at least a discussion.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, because if it was just as simple as getting an invoice from them every month that said so-and-so dropped off this amount of electronics and we have a budget to pay for it, that's a lot. It's a lot easier, and it's not limited just to these sites, so, and not limited to the just the 1 time or 2 times per year that we do it. You could drop it off all the time.
There's times people can't make it to our event. So if they were able to do that, that'd be great. I would just make sure that everything was legit. I mean, and have a way of double checking as far as the inventory that they're taking in.
Also, if they make sure that they're Hancock County residents, because that's part of our deal. So they'd have to have a way to intake.
ID.
Well, they'd have to do it each time. Make a copy of it, say, hey, this is what happened and this is the cost. And I don't know if they do that. That'd be a part of a discussion.
Yeah,
Because I don't think they limit people, say, oh, wait, whoa, you can't come here because you don't live in Hancock County. So I think they would have to have a system then set up, and that might be an extra cost on themselves.
Yeah, could be, but I'd ask.
It might be just as easy as showing an ID when you arrive.
That's what we're saying. Just they'd have to actually make a
Did I
copy of
miss
it or
all that
whatever.
conversation?
Do we ID people when we have these recycling events?
We don't, but our way to check that is we ask them which township they live in. And if they're not from here, they typically don't know the townships in Hancock County. So they'll be like, Hancock. Or like, no, what township do you live in? Or sometimes they'll even mention that they're from, I don't know what the other townships are in the other counties, but they'll mention a different township that we don't have. And it's like, no, this is for residents only. So we could start checking IDs if you'd like for me to, but I don't feel like we're getting that many out-of-county people. Get a few of them. Elenco, they're hosting our events, and they share our event with their employees. So we do get some of their employees that show up, or we have in the past. But I would say typically we don't get more. And, we just explain that this is for residents. But, that's the ones we catch, I guess I should say. But we can check IDs if you'd like for us to start doing that. We can do that.
I don't think you need to.
Just check license plate in the back. It says 30,
Yeah.
you're good. If it doesn't say 30, then say I need an ID.
Unless you have a specialty plate, and then it may not say it. Well,
Okay.
it might, but
It does.
up in the corner.
It's still got the 30 on it.
They're definitely paying a car to be licensed there.
That'd be a great check.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so I've added a few things to the agenda that I sent to you last week. We'll come up with more things as the week goes along. I've decided to participate in the Hancock County Chamber's Chocolate Walk, and I felt like they sell 300 tickets to that event. Everybody has to come to your station in order to get their whatever. And so I thought, our other events typically get 100 people, maybe $200, or 200 people like we did at New Pal. But typically it's averaging about $100. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. 100 people at an event. So I thought if we could get 300 people in just a matter of, I think it's hours, that's a great hit, a great number of people to reach. And so we can pass out our, it'll be too late for the tire event, but we could pass out our fall collection event postcards along with their chocolate. And what I thought I would do is if you've heard of dirt pudding, we're going to do compost pudding and kind of play along the lines of what we're offering. And then
Is it real chocolate?
Compost pudding, man.
Oh, that's
A lot of people in it.
I'll be worried.
It's recycled dirt pudding.
And then I'm using biodegradable cups and wooden spoons to keep
nice.
with my agenda.
Compost pudding.
You're first in line, aren't you?
He's passing them out as the
Let
garbage
Mikey
president.
try it. He likes everything. I'm gonna wait until Dan takes a bite.
During
of it.
COVID, we used dirt pudding as a way to do a groundbreaking. So we all got on Zoom and dirt pudding was,
remember that.
and then little golden shovel spoons.
Right.
Oh, wow.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a long time ago. That's was the groundbreaking for Depot Park.
Well, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Did you eat the pudding afterwards?
Yep.
Was it good?
Yeah,
Oh, good.
I don't remember who made it. I don't
Use the golden shovel.
No.
All my questions have been answered.
So that's coming up in mid-August. And then I did get nominated for the Hancock County Chamber Champion Award, and I did that nomination, so I was kind of excited and shocked to receive that, so that was kind of cool.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And then the last thing that I have on the agenda, I have another thing that I had to add after that, but we were notified that we have to list our board appointments on our agenda as well as on our website. So if you notice to the left on the agenda, I have everybody, well, most everybody, I don't have Dan's. I have everybody's elected term.
It's the same
but
as the
I
mayor.
don't know, is it terms appointed to our board? So like Scott, I think you're only appointed for.
It's 1 year at a time. Yep.
So do I put that term on here?
You're 1 year too.
Yeah.
So those
Yeah,
are
I have
annual
that
for
on
the
the
city as well.
Yeah.
It's what?
My appointment's a one-term.
1 year.
1 year term.
Okay.
Now, is ours 4?
Yours is
You
the
do it
term,
every
you're
year or
automatically
what?
on here.
You're automatically on it for the time you're
Okay.
a commissioner.
I think the mayor is for his elected term.
Yeah. And then Libby, is yours 1 year?
Yeah, but. Sorry, guys, if you want to.
There isn't anybody lined up for my spot either.
I think I'm the one with the most flexible schedule.
They're fighting hard for my spot.
10 o'clock.
I'll bet they are. I've seen the turnover on that from the council.
Okay, so I'll update those terms over on the left, Dan, Scott's, and Libby's. I'll get those
Yeah.
just this year. And then the last thing that I have is that I'm going to be on vacation July 21st through. All I have, unless somebody else has anything else.
Enjoy your vacation.
Enjoy your vacation. Is there any questions for the director? Being none, there's only one motion left to
Motion
be
to
made.
close the meeting.
Second.
Been moved
Adjourn.
properly, it's been moved and properly seconded that we adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adjourned. We're adjourned.
Like it's the longest meeting.
Yes.
So far.
I know, I was surprised when I walked
That's the
back
longest
in.
meeting.
Surprised when I walked in and you guys were still going.
Got me in your corner.
We were done in what?
I'm still alive.
You will be. Only good people die young.
I'm not young.
It's exciting going on.
I am not young.
The door.
But old age is reserved for the precious. There
Is
you
that
go.
it?
Something of that like.
I look at my
You
emails.
made that up.
Right then it is.
It was gonna
It's
take
reserved
too
for the
long.
privilege.
Is that it?
I think.
And it's gonna take too long, and it puts everybody in a bad mood to start the day properly. And
It's not everybody's entitled to it. I'll be seeing you, buddy.
Okay, take care.
You too.
well, George pointed out, he made a post recently and said that we have all this money, and I'm like, well, maybe we should give raises, bigger raises, and
Oh, I didn't know. I don't know.
he says he thinks we got the money, so if we got the money, then.
We have another.
I know some, I mean,
And that comes back to,
but they say
I know, and that comes back to, is our reserves high enough? Like
Like our target balances
target
for
balance.
those special.
Like that first one, the general fund, is 8 million really enough?
Alcohol.
It's currently 21, right, it's currently 21, but it's 8 enough, right? So that's more of a question for like you, like, what do you feel comfortable with? Like, because if we get below it, then it's like, okay, now we gotta worry. But we should not go way above it,
I don't know why I would.
which is
I mean,
what he's saying, is go way above it.
I think it's
Yeah, it's got to get up.
we're on Main Street with the ice cream store. I would not.
I'd like to.
We got a lot of young.
And I know
Yeah, and
go
we
up, but our target.
Well, what we have to have in there at which point we start to get nervous.
Yeah.
And we say,
I'm like,
okay, we don't have the
we're all
funds
mothers,
to,
and-
if something goes wrong here, we don't have the funds
So, but now that
pay
we're.
these bills.
I'm not.
It's like when people are personally told.
And liability insurance.
Yeah, I know.
Very.
More appropriated than we need to have higher target amounts for sure.
Maybe it should be like how we are for personally, like 3 months reserves. Like we have 3 months reserves in each fund. But I'm saying, but that's another thing.
Yeah, there
Maybe
should
you
be
say
some
6 months.
kind of indicator as to what that would be, but
Yeah, instead of, because it seems like we just
I
come
think
every
it
year.
is low for target amounts for general,
They
but
just
it
made it all across, they blanketed it.
Oh, yeah, we do. And so then the question is, do you spend it on things that, because you may not get you don't have to have a balanced budget to sit there and say, oh, we're going to take $2 million from reserves to pay for, these special one-time things.
And you once in a while would change the filter.
It's yeah, there's so.
Because I mean, I hear that. I mean, you remember what the one committee said we should give a 5% raise, but then we decided to do 3%. I mean, that's why I'm kind of like, well, maybe we should do more. Because we have people asking for bigger raises.
Very
We have one
well.
department asking for like 6%.
And usually he comes in mid thought. He's worse than a
No,
woman.
they're-
He is. When I'm in the car, and all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, and
Well, what's the
Jason
clerk
did it.
asking
I've
for?
already
This
like
is a
thought
big raise
half of
too.
my
They're asking
story, and I say it out loud. Francis very much.
Clerk's asking for big raises.
That must be
He's
what I
asking
do,
for
because
a big raise for
I have no
employees
idea what
because
they're
they're
talking
so.
about.
Where
Back
did we
up.
start?
You gotta
While
start
everybody
from
else
the
is in the
beginning.
50s.
Yeah.
That must be what I
I
do.
don't know. Is your department in the
No,
50s?
because
Or?
this is what I did. You would say intention and spread it out however you see fit. So if I saw 2 employees that weren't where they needed to be, I would go to these 2
It
and say,
really is
listen,
hard. He has good
I've
intentions.
got to spread
I'm
these
sure
out and
I
I'll
say
get
that.
you next
He has
year.
good intentions.
And so I've been able to maintain that through communication with my team, saying this is where I want to do. So
Scott is from county council.
if they do that, you know what I mean? I don't know. Again,
He was the engineer.
And then you feel like you maybe should ask for Mary to get more money. Your second in charge. Yeah, I do. And they're going to probably get it. I would guess.
He may be illegal and not even know it. I mean, that's probably what the case is.
Well, when Larry was coming home,
you know what?
people from the hospital.
You know?
Well, although she's planning on running for your spot.
She is.
So that would be a big bump.
Yeah, it will. And then
I said, oh my gosh, I'm watching.
I was gonna tell you too about those funds that Josh.
Yeah, because you never know.
I didn't tell you
I'm
guys.
just giving
You never know when someone elected is not going to
Yeah.
know what they're
Yeah.
doing compared to somebody in that second position. So well, that's true for every department, especially when someone's elected.
Definitely.
I mean, except for assessor, because they have to have certain licenses, right?
Yes.
But then again, they
So you have to pass certain tests, get a license to be an assessor. So that's different. All the rest of it, you don't have to have all that knowledge.
That's what we're
With
wondering.
alcohol. With alcohol.
Yeah, I think it's a very important spot.
Yeah, and Larry was grandfathered in with Maduro on Maine, so.
No.
Yep, I would.
No, nothing to
Okay.
in terms of that.
Oh, rest.
Yeah, but then now remember, it's 8 a.m. 8 a.m. and we go till
I mean, right now.
whenever it ends.
I just got.
Let's go through this.
Which usually is between 3 and
It's
5.
not every guy.
No.
No, it's
But you never know. What's the record?
Well, this year, I've been here to 7 before. That was a long time ago.
What's
Pack a lunch and dinner.
So I was like, how in the world can they do?
That's what most guys do.
He doesn't need it anyway. You don't need that
It's a
thing.
big, it's a.
Goes well.
This is everything.
Do you have
You want me to wait till you're done?
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Using those
Hey, you have a nice morning as well.
Yeah, it is. See ya. Take care.
He would open his head up.
Right.
That's
That's why I say, I mean, if we're gonna do one, we need to get.
And the other thing is, there are a lot of these funds.
I sent the contract.
Yeah, our goal is to try to disperse.
For the right,
Or maybe between Fortville and
That's,
Pendleton?
20 grand for Progress House and 20 grand for settling the.
Is it new?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I do know that this last time we had the
Oh, nice.
contract ends at year end.
Wow.
So it's
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we can go in, have them come in, speak on this.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Probably get enough reports of kind of successes.
And we should do that with all our charities.
Give us a
Yes.
update.
Assume part.
And we need to, I mean, look at their
Put your contact on, because they wanted the network.
tax exempt and all that kind of stuff. How much money are they paying their directors, all that kind of stuff. I know it started during my term as president over at Greenfield. We started interviewing these people and we made them actually give tax forms and everything. So we possibly need to update our protocol.
Just not.
This one here.
Huh?
That's true.
If we get it to them by noon, they should be able to come. We don't get it to them by noon.
We do good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
So,
good to be
we
done
need to
out
reach
there.
out to
Just-
Cindy and
we
ask
just
if
have to
she's
protect
sure on her dates.
Yeah.
Because
Because
that
we're the ones in
dictates
control
the
of it.
time frame in which we have to
We don't need
advertise
somebody
it.
coming out, well, you gotta get them forever. And
She's
they
only
didn't do
worried about the
anything.
date that it's due, but you have to, there's
And, I mean,
laws
just
that
like
govern
to Luther
how
King, I mean,
you have to advertise that. So
I didn't realize it, but I mean, that Keely.
twice 10 days apart, but no more than 7 days
I think she
before
probably has to be
the
careful.
due date.
I don't.
Not us.
Okay, because we went over them, and did we make a change to them?
There, but I would be super cautious.
Oh, I know, and they got some from Zimbabwe.
Well, I feel like there wasn't
Project, but I'm gonna let somebody else.
the appropriate amount of time
That's
from
why
that.
I did it every
The
year.
two
with,
10 days
Kay and
apart with that last, no more than 7 before the bids were.
There was not a
Yeah.
conflict of interest. But
Isn't that what we came up with?
was there.
So we had to, that's why we said, let's
Vision
reach
was
out to her
there.
and state
Why
what.
is he even voting for that?
And usually the bids are due on, during a
It's the best
commissioner
way to
meeting,
do
so
it.
they can come down and open them.
LinkedIn. That's the.
Okay, I'm good with that. As long as we have the advertising right, whatever helps her, it's her gig.
Ready to crank this out. And
Employment things.
I think the only things we have left, just acceptance on some kind of bond.
We've got a disbursement
Okay,
here.
sounds good.
Got the Gateway Conference.
Yeah, that's a disbursement there, but we're not dispersing anything, just passing through. We're just saying, yeah.
We're just signing the disbursement to do it. The Aspire letter was the one that
Yeah, this one here,
it went, it just needed.
an endorsement.
Yeah, signature.
So, yeah,
That just goes to Kreider.
Yes.
And the second one will go to Kreider.
So that Aspire letter goes back to,
Sarah Sailors.
Sarah Sailors and
Rebecca
Rebecca
Bruner.
yeah, the FSSA folks. And it could go, we could send a copy to Senator Kreider too for,
Yeah, because signed one, because
Signed
we
one.
only did.
we did the unsigned, we just put our names on there.
And we've still got all of Bernie's
Okay.
and John's stuff.
Okay.
So,
There's a pretty good leak in the toilet.
Oh my goodness. We sent something to Corey yet?
I'm sending it
You sent it to him?
because Corey was off today.
Is he?
I don't know.
I saw Corey this morning.
He was here.
Okay, then I'll
'cause-
put them both on here.
So just short news on the AC stuff, I guess he's been dealing with it the last couple of days. He
Yeah.
said they've had pump issues, chiller issues, HC issues, and they're working on it to try to get that.
Yes.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
I wasn't gonna bring it up, but since you mentioned it.
Just may put the whole crew on vacation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, driving in this morning, it was like there weren't any cars out. I thought, is anybody working this week? It was like a
You
ghost
know,
town driving in.
I'll say this to just, So when Ethan and Jacob were playing football, this is the week, I think, of the ISHA moratorium, so kids don't have to be at practices or do.
It's July 4th week, yeah.
So everybody's gone, they're off, they're doing whatever, and there's not anybody out, or very, very little.
I double checked the time, said, did I come in like an hour or two early? I don't.
Yeah.
Are we ready, Janine?
I'm ready.
You ready? Okay.
Yeah, I got the text.
We'll call back to order our meeting. The next item up on our agenda is with 911 and John Jaconis.
Morning.
Morning.
We were just discussing back there that it would probably be a good idea for you just to give us the whole week off. Just shut the county down for a week. I mean, just saying.
That come out of your budget?
Sure. Sure.
Can you call my employer too?
What's that?
Can you call my employer too?
Uh-huh. Shut the whole county down.
Right.
Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Not wearing a tie, so that's a
I'm not
good
wearing
thing.
a tie.
He's speaking for Bernie,
This
that's
is-
what it is.
This is my first day back for a little while or my second day back for a little while from being off and having a conference and whatnot. So I'm still trying to get myself reacclimated to my job. So,
Right. It's like as I just got back Saturday night, so.
yeah. Yep. I was late Thursday. So, so we have two things today. The first one will be, is the first one the carpet for you guys?
Yes.
Okay. So the first one will be to recarpet my office as well as the two other rooms that are attached to my office that I use for various things. I did send out to 3 different vendors, or Corey got a hold of 2 of them who did not respond. This company is the only one that actually did respond, and we felt that it was a acceptable amount on that. The 3140, and that's to do the carpet squares. And then in turn, what we're going to do, just in case we have any other issues like we did this time with the weather, we know exactly where this carpet is being bought. So after it's bought, we're going to go out and actually buy another 3 or 4 boxes of this because they're the carpet squares. So then if anything happens to those squares, we can just replace those. The problem with the original carpet squares that were put down in my office were they were like a closeout, and so we could not replace just the individual squares.
Right.
So
Are those glued down, John?
those are, yep. And they did a really nice job with it. It's just when we had all that rain, whatever it was back in April, we did not anticipate there being any water seeping in down there, so. And
Well,
that's.
what about the future?
What's that?
What about the future?
Well, and that's what we're trying to still find we're still trying to find that, and that's why we want to get the extra stuff too, because, if we would have, I think if we would have realized it was happening, we probably would have been able to stop some of that damage. And one of the carpets that got the worst of it was from 2008, and so that needed to be replaced a while back anyway. So
are the walls painted with the waterproof painting or whatever? I mean,
we're gonna probably have to figure that out. Obviously I wasn't around when they built this building and whatnot, but it was quite literally the only place in the building that had an issue during that whole thing. So,
Nelson, do any monitoring for moisture?
well, we do. I mean, there are things that we can put on the floor, but I'm not exactly sure if it would have picked up on the carpet or not. So I know it does.
Where did it originally come from, John?
Where?
Come up?
It appears that it just came from the side somewhere. So we may have to. I don't know how deep we want to take this, since that was obviously a very unusual rain event. If we need to cut out the bottom of the drywall to look, we can. But it's in the 10 years that I've been here, that even with a large amount of rain, that's never happened in that building.
So the walls are drywall
The walls are
and there's no watermark or anything? Huh.
It's yeah, it was the strangest thing because nobody even noticed it until I had come back in, because I think that was over a weekend, wasn't it, when we had that rain?
I think so.
And so I'd come in and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, something smells. And then you got to and it was just, like I said, it was just one, but it was in each of those rooms. So it was just
Now, are
very
we
strange.
allowed, we filed the emergency declaration. Are we able to get any of that money for?
Did you submit these costs to?
Since we just got them, Corey and I had talked about that. I wasn't sure how he was gonna handle that portion.
Because Misty's in charge of that, isn't she?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it'd be nice to look at, so.
Yep, absolutely.
Get reimbursed for everything, and if they're,
Even if just partial reimbursement, it's still good.
Well, and even with the drywall, I wonder what's going on behind that drywall right now, too.
Yeah. So if that's something you want us to, if that's something.
I'd keep an eye on the drywall.
you know, the area of drywall where that water came in, it might be a good idea just to have somebody cut that out.
Okay.
A portion of it to take a look.
Okay, we can do that, yeah. We'll do it in a,
Corey or Rick?
yeah, because we can, like you said, it was over it was over the southeast portion of the building. I mean, we could cut an exploratory hole in a place that's not that visible, like in the closet that's in there, just to see if we see anything. There's a slight chance, so we have an elevator in there, or a lift in there, and there's a slight chance, but it didn't look like it, that the sump pump in the elevator shaft may not have kept up, and that it got to a point, but there was no water damage that we could see within the elevator shaft, because there's wood.
Also, you can see in there?
Yeah,
with the elevator up?
You take the elevator up, take the little key and unlock it, and we can see what's going on.
But nothing's in there.
It did not appear that there was anything, but that was the thought that was our original culprit, and it still may have been, but it didn't appear based on the wood that is in there for the framing of the walls
You'd be able to see if it was on the drywall in there, that's for sure. All right.
Yep. That's all right. That's the hope, is that it actually was that. It was the elevator shaft, which again would make the most sense. But we, without having a camera down there.
Yeah. Do we want a motion on this?
Yeah.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the project cost of $3,140 for carpet replacement at the 911 center.
Second.
And moved and seconded that we approve the project cost quote from John Jaconis for carpet and vinyl base repair at the 911 center, an amount not to exceed $3,140 to be paid for out of your 911 budget.
Out of my building maintenance
Your
fund.
building
Or my
maintenance
building
budget.
maintenance line item out of Fund 1235.
With the caveat that you take this information to the 911 or the EMA director to see if there's a potential for reimbursement.
Yep, done.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Okay. The next item is for the new IT office, and this is what's called a door station. Basically, since both of the doors on the north and south side of that are secured, we needed an easier way for them to answer that door when somebody comes to it. So because Adrian is always sitting at his desk, and so the idea was to get this, basically it's just a doorbell thing, but it also should have video, but it can go through the phone system depending on how Bernie wants it set up, to where somebody will hit the button, it'll ring into the phones, and then they can talk to whoever's out there. So that way that allows them to keep their office secure, but also allows them to take visitors without it being weird. So.
Where will we pay this from?
If it's up to you, but I do have just a little bit left in my unclaimed money in my 911 bond. And since this isn't at 1870, it's not, I probably, but I don't know if we can do it. I mean, we're doing the
Can
keep.
I ask a question? Unclaimed, so we have everything earmarked, so is there something that fell through? Could you let us know what that is?
So like a zero amount
Yeah.
for mine?
Yeah.
We're not doing, we weren't, I don't remember which one it was, either the front door or the windows we weren't looking at to pay it out of this. So there was about $10,000 or $11,000 left.
Can I reach out to you later just to make sure, because that way we're trying to make sure that we're not.
Correct,
motioning.
overextending the
Yeah.
bonds, yeah.
We could building maintenance it as well.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
However, it doesn't matter to me.
Probably just a building maintenance to pay that.
Out of your building
Out of our
maintenance?
building
Okay.
maintenance. Yeah, since the project's kind of finished, I would say, I would call it finished. I mean, you go down there and for the most part, I think the only thing they're waiting on is some more door handle, hardware type access.
Yeah, we have to, yeah. Yes, some door handles need to be replaced in order to work with the door access
Right.
readers, so.
Right.
Or door hardware, so.
Make a motion to approve quote number 9711, and it is for IT office door station and wall mount in the amount of $1,870 and to be paid out of building maintenance as presented.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the equipment sales agreement quote from Nelson Alarm, quote number 9711, for an IT office door station and wall mount, amount not to exceed $1,870 to be paid for out of Commissioner Building Maintenance.
It's not commissioner, it's facility.
Excuse me.
Facility maintenance.
Facility. Building maintenance. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
That's all I have unless you have something for me.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. We'll send you a copy of our Excel spreadsheet, and then you let me
I'll
know
send
what's
you
good and what's
I'll
not.
send you mine then right now and you can send me yours.
Perfect.
So this we don't need.
That will be the last
Yeah.
thing we discuss.
What's that?
That, the ordinance text, is that what you're looking
No,
at?
this is Parks and Rec here.
Okay.
I mean, we've got plat committee from planning. And then a disbursement for,
The disbursement we
Yes.
can do.
I make a motion for us to pass this through to Conference Center out at Gateway. We don't pay anything, it's just done through us, just more or less that we know about it and pass it to them.
So approve disbursement number one.
I make a motion to approve disbursement request number one in the amount of $673,090.08.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the Gateway Conference Center disbursement number one in an amount of $673,090.08 as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
And I've got a recommendation letter for Aspire Indiana Health to assume the role of Community Mental Health Center service provider of record for Hancock County, effective July 1st, 2025. Yep.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the endorsement letter for our new Hancock County Community Mental Health Center service provider, Aspire Health Indiana. It's effective today's date, July 2025. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
And then we have Bernie left on here.
Bernie
And then
Harris?
Kayla.
Is there a survey, is there a surveyor bond in there at all, Gary? An
There is.
acceptance bond?
Yeah, that's right. No, that's not it. I saw that. Where's
Yeah,
it at?
it's right here.
I was thinking.
And accepting, we don't
do
assign-
anything. We just.
Okay,
It's not in here.
What are you looking for?
The acceptance bond?
Because you don't have to sign it.
right. We
Okay,
just
all
motion,
right, that's all.
we just motion to accept
Okay,
it.
make a motion. Go ahead, Janine.
Okay, I make a motion to accept surveyors accept bond number 1 in the amount of, I gave you my copy. $264,412.50. The bond was posted on June 16th of 25 for Mohawk Trails. The bond is for storm drainage.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We accept the maintenance bond from Indiana Excavating Services LLC in the amount of $264,412.50 for Mohawk Trails storm drainage. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
And do we need a motion for this, the Raleigh?
Yeah, so the thing there was, you guys gave permission to use the hall.
Yeah.
The budget meeting, that has been canceled.
Okay, so
We can use this afternoon.
we're good with,
Do we need a motion for that? Okay, make a motion to approve the Raleigh Festival commission, to use the Commissioner's Courtroom October 1st after 12 p. Well, after
after 12.
12 p.m. Okay.
Second, it's been moved and seconded, no, you're okay, that we approve the Riley Festival request to use the Commissioner's Courtroom on October 1st after 12 p.m. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. And Sarah, will you notify them of that too? Okay. Okay, great. Now, Bernie, come on down.
There he
Or
is.
up.
He was back there. He disappeared. Okay.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
This is a long project, the courthouse audio upgrade. So there's been an added feature that the judges wanted, to be able to have their Zoom meetings appear to the audience and actually record them from Zoom as well onto the FTR. So that requires some extra equipment to do that. So there's been an increase. I know we don't have the money this year to do it, but we have it within a court budget to be able to do one of the courts. So that was a cost of $89,1728. Add that extra equipment. But we can pay for that out of the court computer budget. We can do that. But for next year, we have 3 more courts that we have to do it, and that's going to be, I don't know if the price will be the same next year or not, but that's what it is.
Probably not. It never stays the same.
So, but they said that they can add that on later if we need to.
Okay.
So I'd like to get your approval to go ahead and do this.
Do this one.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve this quote number 16830, and it's for video equipment for one of our courtrooms to be able to record and view video, and not to, an amount not to exceed $8,917.28 to be taken from the court, from the court itself.
Court computer budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the quote from Force Technology Solutions LLC, quote number 16830, for updated or video upgrades in one of the courthouse courts. Commissioner's Court, okay. In an amount not to exceed $8,917.28 to be paid for out of the court computer budget. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Okay.
This one?
The one they just motioned on?
That was for the.
Over there.
I just want to make sure I get it right in my minute.
Now, there's a difference in the, Sarah has Give that to them? Okay, all right. They have a copy.
The CW.
Okay. Well, this is my error. I configured some switches for John Buchanan's for the video upgrades for the new buildings coming in. And then those switches, I tried to get by not using some software that I didn't think we needed. But I'm being told by Cisco we need to have that, and they can't sell that switch without it. So there's a difference in the cost of what you approved and what it's costing. So since I erred, we can take that out of our computer budget if we want to.
What's the additional cost?
It was,
then?
what was that total? It was, it's for the digital, it was for DNA licenses. DNA. You have the original?
Yeah, this was the original, right? That
No,
we have in
it's
front of
just-
us?
So it's
Yeah, it's the same, except the,
just the quote numbers are different.
Right.
Just to ratify the quote numbers.
right,
Oh, on both the 7,000 and the 4,000?
yes.
So a motion to ratify.
But there was a cost difference too, I think.
Cost difference.
And I was gonna pay that difference, so,
Yeah.
out of our budget. So we need you to actually approve the correct amount.
How much
pay the
was that
difference.
correct amount?
It was, what did it say there? $7,849.79 for one, and $4,284.39 for the others. Two different switches.
So you need all of this $12,000 then?
Yes.
Additional money.
It's not additional, it's,
Corrected?
it needs to be corrected in the amount that we were,
Yeah, revised.
the only additional would be like $900 additional, and I'll pay that difference.
Okay, all right. So I would make a motion that we approve additional amount of $900, and do we have an exact amount anywhere?
What it is?
Amount, no.
Not to exceed $1,000? Go that route?
He just wanted to have the minutes reflect correct quote numbers.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay.
Well, then I will make a motion that we approve the new quote numbers. Quote number 1, PKVF 538. Original quote date was 5/5 of '25. And secondary quote, PKVF 316. Original quote date was 5/5 of '25.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve updated quote information from CDWG. The first quote number is PKV F538. The second quote is PKV F316. Both were dated May 5th of 2025. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
So we've updated the quote numbers.
Sorry for confusion.
No, that's okay.
No problem.
We're clear now. Clear as mud.
This was not on my agenda, but I heard John talking about moisture. We have the ability to put moisture sensors using our wireless access points in places to sense that kind of.
Can you contact him and let
I'll
him?
do that.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for bringing that information to us. I mean. Michaela?
Anything else?
Do we need to discuss our, that later?
We need to get with Bernie based on the information he shared with us yesterday. We probably need to have an executive session just to be able to have him share with us freely. We can send out a thing amongst all of us when we have the next free time.
Okay, that's fine.
So is next week?
That's fine, whenever you want to do it.
Next week or the
I'm
week
available.
after that? Okay, you're not going on vacation anymore?
Nope.
All right.
I'm done for a little while, so.
Okay. We'll send something out amongst all of us to get a date and time, and the auditor as well, so we can put up a notice to talk about that.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie.
Get that.
What is it? Oh, yes, I got that. I don't know if I showed it to Bill. I did show it to Bill.
Oh, is that the IC code?
Huh?
I printed it out yesterday when I went to the.
Oh, right. Gary, that's for you to sign.
Okay.
Kayla Brooks, come on up. Good morning. So one of the reasons that we wanted you here was just to make sure that you would tell us about the Planning Commission vacancy. And do you have any people that have potentially looked as if they could be qualified replacements? Because I think each of us has some people that we were going to discuss after that and talk about how we could get in contact with them and do some kind of interviewing.
Yeah, I think that any name that I've thought of has been included in Mike Long's emails to you all. So I'm happy to help at all if I can, but I'm also happy to listen to your recommendations for that seat.
So right now, the names I've heard: Jay Settergren, Derek Toll, Colette Childress. Are you hearing any other?
That's what I've seen right now, but I mean, either one of those people would be good.
So I would like to get everybody's contact information out so each of you can call and just, ask them. And then we can get back later and just decide who our commissioner pick may be for that board.
Do it.
And I don't
Planning
think.
and Zoning Board, we missed.
It's the Planning Commission Board.
Planning Commission.
And its requirements are that you live just in the unincorporated Hancock County.
Yes.
And I think Tyler was in. That's why I recommended Jay Setter.
And I mean, like I said, all the names are great
right
representatives. I mean, they really are. So,
Right.
I mean, whoever we pick there, it does not matter to me.
Okay, so we'll get their contact information out so we can each have a, chat with them.
I can send Jay's over to Deborah now and just all of you. So.
Okay. All right. Secondly was the ordinance text amendment. In the copy that I know Scott and I have, there is an amendment to the ordinance that would remove a portion of the ordinance dealing with accessory structures, so we can continue to wait until there's a more comprehensive way to view that through the UDO. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Scott, what do we have to do to introduce that to make that happen? Is it get an ordinance number and?
Yes. Introduce it. I think we can suspend.
And return it to the Plan Commission.
I don't know if it has to return to it can return to the Planning Commission, but I think the way I read that, if it goes 45 days. 45 days, there's nothing that they need to do with it, right?
Right. So it wouldn't have to.
Okay, thank you.
And if we could get an ordinance number.
2025-7A.
2025-7A.
And Sarah, this is a copy of the ordinance from that email, correct?
Ordinance that I received from.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And it has the amendment there's two things here that you guys have to do. The motion to amend number 2 is the very, very back. And the original, the ordinance is on the front.
And do we leave the strikeout, all the strikeout information on there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And the strikeout will be reviewed back when the UDO comes online and we give that approval.
Perfect.
So, sir, if I can get a motion.
I make a motion.
To introduce, I think, ordinance number 20.
I'd like to
You want to
introduce.
suspend the rules today? Is that what you want to do?
Yes.
I think, yeah, introduce it, suspend the rules, and adopt it.
Yep, adopt it. Correct.
Make a motion to introduce it, okay. Introduce ordinance number 2025-7A, an ordinance amending Title 15, Chapters 155 and 156 of the Code of Ordinances of Hancock County, Indiana, regarding technical committee and plat committee procedures and accessory such structures.
Second.
Okay,
Introduced it.
Then you go ahead
I
and
make a
suspend
motion
the
to
rules.
suspend the rule on the day of introduction.
Right.
Second.
And it's been moved and seconded. We suspend the rules on the day of introduction for ordinance number 2025-7-A. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. And then a motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2025-7A, an ordinance amending Title 15, Chapters 155 and 156 of the Code of Ordinances of Hancock County, Indiana, regarding technical committee and plat committee procedures and accessory structures as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We adopt ordinance number 2025-7-A, an ordinance amending Title 15, Chapters 155 and 156 of the Code of Ordinances of Hancock County, Indiana, regarding technical committee and plat committee procedures and accessory structures. Any discussion? Or as presented? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
2 places to sign. Okay.
Anything else?
The ground,
Okay.
please.
Oh, last thing, you are advertising for Darla's position currently, correct?
Yes, it
Okay.
was posted on, it was advertised internally and posted online on the county website yesterday.
Fantastic.
Has anybody from inside actually responded?
Not that I know of, but I might be a little behind on my emails from yesterday too. So.
One that posted it on.
I sent it to John Milburn.
Awesome. Because I just sent out the email, so I didn't
Oh,
post it on
okay.
it. I just wanted to make sure.
Kayla, didn't the council approve you some overlap pay for training for Darla's position?
I don't believe.
Not for Darla's. It was
No.
for
Holly.
Holly's.
Okay, I'm with you. Okay, just checking. Not that it's too late now. But
Yeah. I think that's it as far as
Commissioners,
the
I don't
agenda.
have anything else if you
Comment from public.
I will get impact fees. I'll talk to
Brian Breeze.
about that.
But I would think that our trails that we have now are already covered, true?
Oh, yeah.
I believe they are. Just
would
the-
think. I would-
Does the addition of any
Yeah.
more increase that?
Stop loss now of 900,000. 1.5 million.
Yeah,
Adding.
I would hope not, but at the same time,
Well,
with,
no.
with the
It's
fact that
all
we're
the
going
land.
after low-cost
Yeah.
stuff right at this
Yeah.
point, so.
What were you saying, Deborah?
So, so any fire, anything that we do that's going under our insurance, and Brian gets a lot of our capital assets from the capital assets report. So the more we, bigger we grow, the more we're gonna pay,
cost
so.
us.
Sometimes there's a
More,
threshold.
the more we get to
So-
entertain,
So
Brian.
many vehicles are covered.
No, well, just that threshold can move depending upon if you've got 20 more cars.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
so
it can move.
the more we grow, the more we'll pay.
George, do you have anything to say today?
Yeah. Believe it or not.
Of course you do. You're going digital?
Uh-oh, we're in trouble.
But then if we bumped up to,
My goodness.
Oh.
yes.
Is this gonna be a long and drawn out thing?
I'm gonna
or
try
it's
and
gonna
keep
be
it as short as possible, believe me.
1,001?
I know you guys want to go home, and I want to go home too. Go home? I gotta go back to work.
Yeah, speak for yourself there, retired
Hey,
George.
you know, was there something that you wanted to mention about someone using
Oh,
the
yes,
memorial building?
yeah.
Um,
There you go.
Thomas
Can
was
you see
doing
it?
like one-on-one training.
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
can't read it.
No. Let
I'll
me
get that.
see if I
Thank
can
you.
boost. Whoa. Is that better?
Little, not really.
Okay, hang on.
I just want to do it now before.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I should have caught that too.
It's all right.
Here we go. Hang on a
That
second.
better?
Hang on a second, George.
There you go.
Hang on a second, George.
All those colors.
Oh, awesome. Good deal.
George Langston. Yesterday was the end of state physical year, and is one of the two times that you can see how the county is funded both by federal, state, and local taxes. This is my form that I use to track just a little bit of what the end of month report, which is 5 pages long, that's where I get my information from. They just recently amended the target cash balance, which is what's at the top of the form, 25-6-2, which I included all the new information off of that. And as you look, the target down at the bottom on the left side, the new target for all those cash balances is $22,450,000. And then the next column over is the ending balance yesterday from the end of month report, which is $46,343,322.06. And then if you look over to the far right, you see how much the difference is between the target and the actual amount that's in the account at the end of June, which totals $23,893,322.06. Again, and I've said this many times, I'm not against you guys having a cash balance reserve, but there's something called too much cash balance reserves. That money that's reflected here belongs to the taxpayers. And we should only take what we need to fund the county and have a little bit of a reserve in case something goes wrong. And so, one of the things I do want to point out is talking to Scott, you have a new item on this list, 4,700 self-insurance, $500,000 target balance. I was talking to him earlier. In my opinion, that should be $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but here, George, if we have a claim today, by the time it gets through the system, it could be 2 to 3 years. So we don't have to have all that money right up front.
Right.
And then back to the other target balances, you're right, that money belongs to the taxpayers. But I think we owe it to the taxpayers to be able, if the bottom would fall out of the economy and everything else, that we are able to continue to run our county and keep our people safe, our constituents safe and engaged, because we have something to fall back on. And, you know, in 2008, we had nothing to fall back
I
on.
know you had $3.9 million.
That's all. And you know how long
I
that would last?
understand that. And I
About
understand
a
the way
week.
you worked, and why the county worked up to this point. I'm just saying that it's starting to get a little bit too much.
Not when you consider how much it costs to run this
Yeah.
government, day to day, week to week, month to month. It probably wouldn't last but a couple, 3, 4 months maybe. I'm really not sure. And those target balances that we set also are, you know, when we do need to bond, because we are growing so fast, that when we do need to bond, and that shows our good faith effort that we are working within our means, we are saving money for the unpredictable, and that just move forward so much swifter when we have that. I mean, am I right, Scott?
Yes, you are, because that helps us get our bonds graded as high as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Also, right below that blue line is some items that, one, I think the 1173 motor vehicle restrictive fund should be in the target cash balance. It's got $2,816 in it. Then I also show the new economic development agreement payments that are just starting to come into play. And then the opioid funds. And then I got tourism, to let people know what's going on with tourism.
Will you make a copy of that for us?
Yeah, I'll send you an email with this stuff on it.
Okay.
And you're using what end of the month, the balance that we send out? Is that what you're using this for?
Yeah, the
Against?
in the month report.
Gotcha.
Okay. Oh, one other thing on that in the month report for target cash balance and stuff. When I get down here, but I don't want to forget it. The RDC funds, and they'll be farther down. You got one fund, 9,200 TIF RDC federal reimbursement, $18,069.69. That fund, for as far as I know, has been sitting there for at least 10 years, not used. And it come up a couple of years ago about seeing about why we can use this for, and it's still sitting here, not used.
I can't see your screen. What fund did you say?
9,200.
Is that the library fund?
That's a TIF RDC Federal Reimbursement Funds, what's called.
Oh, it must be fired.
It's the very last
Secretary
fund.
will work for
It's
you.
the very last fund on the report.
You can get that like.
We can ask Gary about why we've continued to keep that in the RDC fund. I don't know if there's any, or even ask our legal counsel why, RDC legal counsel, why we would potentially keep that kind of money in there.
Or what TIF it is would
Also-
help explain it, because it might be bond payments and things.
There's also on page 4 of my report, for RDC, it's a grant, $6,600. That's been sitting there for a few years too, not being used. So I just wanted to point that out before I go any further. Also on this page, I show the lit correctional facility, 1233, revenue bond, income receipts that's going to pay off the bond, $9 million. The American Rescue Plan has $182,977 and some change. Then I get into I got to figure out how I can pull this up. God, I lost it. Hang on a second. Let's see. All right. The next thing underneath that is all the GO bonds. 2021, 2022A, 2022B, and 2023 bonds and their totals, which comes up to a total, all of them, $8.5 million. And then underneath that is all the TIFs, which I'm going to have to, with all their balances.
You know, George, this probably would be a more appropriate presentation for the fiscal body for the county council.
Well, yeah, but they don't allow public speaking. And that's why I have to do.
Could you send them an email and include your stuff and just kind of take them through that then? I mean, that's probably, I mean, I appreciate the information that you're sharing, don't get me wrong. But, you know, the people that are going to make those decisions are the council. And if you're not allowed to speak, then, you know, maybe sending your information email might be a really good thing for you to do. It might stem some conversation.
Now, the total of all the TIF balances is just under $1 million.
You know, before I was ever elected in office, I addressed council. I mean, I thought they always did that.
You mean public comment?
Yeah.
They do not.
They don't?
They do not.
They do not.
They did, and then it kind of got out of hand some years ago, I believe.
Okay.
Deborah, am I right?
I think that's probably. But I still think once in a while they'll take public comment. I just don't think it's practice.
Yeah, it was
But George,
definitely
I'd like
before
for you to
your
send that
time.
to me because I'm showing some different numbers, especially on the Go bond
You may
stuff. So
wanna
I'm not quite sure how
encourage
you're
that.
figuring it and what I'm looking at.
Well,
that's
I've just
different.
taken what the balances are off the,
But a lot of that's
yesterday's end of
earmarked for
month report.
things. So I mean, it might look like there's more than there
Yeah.
actually is.
And George, you may reach out to Mary No and ask her to be on the agenda and just to present.
Okay. I want, like I said, I don't want to take up too much time. I also separate the total amount for the whole budget is 11,077,337.38 million. I subtract the RDC funds from that because the RDC kind of stands alone and controls their funding. They have their own meetings and they vote how they spend their money and the TIF money. But what I'm showing here, the second line there, 9,161,072 is a total of all the 6 items that are RDCs on this form. And of course, they're going to be spending this money between now and the end of the month. But, and then I also take out the tourism money because they stand alone. And I just want to point out, tourism it can only be funded by innkeeper's tax, and they cannot come to the county if they're in trouble and ask for help. That's the only funding they got. And that's why I do agree with them having a reserve account. I believe that right now they got approximately 1.14 million in their money market account. And I would not like to see them spend more than down to somewhere between $750,000 or $800,000 left in that account in case something goes bad. Other than that, I have no problem with them spending the rest of that money. But I wouldn't want to see them go below $7,500, $7,500 or $800K, somewhere in that time frame. One other item, and it's because, quite frankly, I don't know why they got so much money. It's the health department budget. Now, the 1159 amount that's on this list is part of this list here, target cash amount. But these are all the items I can find in the report. And the one that's highlighted in yellow, I'm not 100% sure it belongs to the health department. It's the bioterrorism funding. I don't know if that belongs there or not, but you can see that they're in the hole for $2,800. Okay? But all those
Reimbursable grant if it's in the hole.
but all those total just under $4 million.
Well, and some of the fund, I think 1161 was part of the state money that
Yeah.
started to roll over grant money. Hey, that's what the state wants these health departments to have.
Is that because they're expecting another COVID incident?
They did a study, I think, a couple of years ago and found that all the health departments within Indiana, most of them were woefully underfunded. And this was their goal to get them funded because after COVID, they realized, hey, there are some health issues that we're not prepared to handle and we need to do it. And I know former State Senator Luke Kenley sat on a board, and this is what they came up with. But it will potentially go down because it's what was struck as part of Senate Enrolled Act 1. They're going to take some of those funds away. So don't expect to see that kind of fund balance around very much longer here.
Well, and this is a way for me to let the public know that there's these, 10 funds that make up and what they got right now. I know they're going to spend, especially out of 1159, that'll go down to probably 250, 300 by the end of the year, and all that. And like I said, I'm just looking at, and this ain't the whole budget. There's other things like Gary pointed out. Don't get upset about the Coombe Bridge. The Coombe Bridge has got over $6 million in it. Lit special purpose, it's got over $7 million in it.
Well,
and there's other items in this that's got well over $1 million.
On the surface, though, people just see numbers and they don't know the context.
Yeah.
And I know you're trying to share some of the context of those, but when people see these, they may say, gosh, you are taking a lot of the taxpayer dollar. I think, yes, we probably do, but there's some of those funds right now that look pretty healthy. By the end of the year, they'll be drawn down.
Yeah, and when come the end of November, when I do the end of November, you'll see where this money's gone down, and through your meetings, we'll know what it was spent for and all that. I'm just looking at, some of these balances are just starting to get way too high. I understand you got to have a fallback. I got to have a fallback at home too, and I got that.
You sit in the same council meetings that we do, and you listen to the financial advice that we get, and part of that is just that. We're not doing it just because we want to do it. We're getting financial advice that we pay gentlemen handsomely for too.
I'm going to quote Scott from a few minutes ago. He told me, he says, what I'm showing is you guys need to spend money.
I don't doubt there are monies that are in there to be spent. I think that, with what's going to happen with SCA 1, we're in a good position to tolerate that for the time being and just hope and pray that the federal government doesn't default on anything it has.
And again, it's just trying to let the public know. All this stuff is on my website, on Facebook, Watchdog 46140. And they can go look there, and they can find the others that I post.
Well, we appreciate you watching the numbers. I mean, I know you know the numbers.
Well, and also, and I did this on Save Hancock County. They were talking about what, especially with the person that was put on the State Economic Development Council, that they just got done battling what item placed in the county. What I told them is, come to this meeting if you got a complaint. Come in here and speak at public comment. Be respectful, be on point, and whatever you do, don't make threats. And I pointed out that last COVID meeting in August of 20, where you had a room full of people here in that hallway, and that, Bill, I thought your jaw was going to break. You were clenching your teeth because they made.
I remember that meeting.
I'm telling you, I'm standing over there making phone calls to people back there, telling them to knock it off. Because we were that close to losing because of.
Yeah.
And everybody got
Well,
COVID.
civility goes a long way.
Yeah.
You know, we can all be upset over certain things, but there's a time when you've got to control yourself and do those things.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we allow for this public comment. But we've also had some public commenters that we asked the sheriff to make sure the folks got out of the room. And we've had some constitutional commenters that didn't want to abide by the rules and procedures of the room. And hey, if you're not going to, we've got a remedy for that.
You represent us. You work for us in a way, but you represent us. And for somebody to come in here and say that I'm your boss, you know, I take exception to that too.
Well, we do have a lot of bosses.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good weekend and holiday. And
You too.
You're welcome.
So,
Enjoy.
So before we do adjourn, guys, I've got a favor to ask of you because I messed up this adopt ordinance policy. So I needed to actually do a motion to amend. So I need to rescind the ordinance, all the motioning we did with the introduction.
I don't think you got an actual vote on the first
Okay.
introduction.
Well, you don't have to vote on the,
okay.
You just introduce it.
Okay.
Just introduce it. But I need I need to move to rescind that.
Okay.
Ordinance number 2025-7-A.
Start with that.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. We rescind ordinance number 2025-7-A. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. The part that I wanted to have amended was amendment 2 within this, which struck the language that said things like regarding zoning districts, changes related to the conditions under which accessory structures may be located in front yards. That was struck.
Yes.
So how do I just make a motion to amend?
Exactly that way.
Okay.
You can do it too. The president can make motions.
Okay,
Make a
so
motion.
I would make a motion to amend number 2 from the planning department information that we have, which is an ordinance amending Title 15, Chapter 155 and 156 of the Code of Ordinances of Hancock County, Indiana regarding technical committee and plat committee procedures and accessory structures as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 We need a second.
Second.
Oh,
Second.
second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. So we've passed the motion to amend. Do we need a new,
Now you can introduce the amended ordinance.
but do we,
Use the same number.
can we use the same number? Do we need to use a
I
different?
think we can use the same number because we rescinded the first one.
Okay.
But wait a second.
Yeah, okay.
Never scratching her head. That's not a good sign.
Okay, we're dealing with one ordinance, correct?
Yes.
But it's been amended.
That's okay. So, yeah, it's been
And we just
amended.
assigned a new number to it, didn't we?
7A.
That was the first number we
Yeah.
had. Do we need to go 7B on this, or can we reuse?
I don't think we do need to go 7B. We use the
Because
same.
7A contains the amendment within that ordinance, correct?
We're
Okay.
amending the
We're
amendment, so.
Yeah,
amending
So
that.
we're good on that.
Okay.
But isn't the amendment the new ordinance?
Um,
Well, I think it would still come under play of 2025-7-A,
Yeah, it's not a brand new ordinance.
just an amended to that ordinance.
Yes.
And really all we're
Amended
doing is
to one
calling out
ordinance.
what was struck.
2025-7-A.
This
and
amendment-
was Amendment 2.
would remove the information
Of a previous
from
ordinance?
this ordinance, yeah.
What's the ordinance that we're amending?
The one that
Accessory
you just gave
structures.
us the numbers for.
Yeah.
I feel like,
feel like that would
who's
be-
on first?
No,
So
who's on second?
So
What's on first?
we have one ordinance.
We do.
2025-7A. And this is an amendment to that.
And
The amendment would need to have, so the ordinance comes first, then the amendment comes second, is what I'm hearing, right? So the amendment would have to have a new number identifying in the body of that document referencing 2025-7A. Because otherwise, we won't be able to track that. So that's what the amendment should have in it, is referencing the number of the ordinance that it's amending. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We ran into that one other time.
I totally
Yeah,
get it.
and we've got a situation where we've got a whole bunch of them that we can't keep
So we
track.
need to know what the amendment is.
What the original.
The original amendment was, and I think we might have done that about a month ago.
Yeah, we did.
We did do it, because I asked Rhonda.
Yeah, you asked them to redo it.
I asked him to put it in there, but I don't know if it was ever done. Was it?
I think so. Wasn't it, Kayla?
I think Rhonda was of the
You
thought that
referenced
maybe
which
she didn't have
ones-
to do that.
No, we do.
And I told her the auditor wanted it too. And
It's, I mean, that's how,
I know. I
how else do
understand.
we track it if we don't know what number came before it?
Yeah.
And how do we know what goes together? That doesn't even,
I was trying to kind of, I didn't want to have to create more work on that
I just feel like all we have to do is write the
original in there.
in there in the body of that.
You could write it in there and initial it today.
Thing is, it's written in there, it's just lined through.
It's struck.
Actually, the old one is?
Yeah.
That's right. It's in the amendment right here, but it's down at the bottom, it's got lines to it.
That information was struck, and that's when I asked the question, does that strikes remain in there? Deborah said, yes, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
So this one has,
We're just talking about a reference to the.
so this is the amendment, but the amendment has been attached right there.
That's a motion too.
So again,
That's the new number. Where's the stricken?
Right here.
Yeah, that's okay, but that doesn't, what she's talking about is the original ordinance that was passed by this body. not that
before
code
the
section.
original ordinance, before this,
Exactly.
this number here.
And I mentioned that, that's what was gonna get changed, meeting, but I don't think it did. Just to add it in there so she can track it, because this is the new number. If you're amending a previous ordinance, you need to reference where that could be
Always,
found.
always, always.
That's why, that's the only reason it's in there.
So is this something that we should probably put on our next agenda and have the appropriate paperwork to sign off on and make all those
Unless
motions
there's,
in?
is there any kind of time issue here?
I don't think there's a time
Is there any
issue.
problem?
But I thought Rhonda and you had talked about
We,
this.
I know, we did after the meeting. She didn't think it was needed, but
So
I
it's-
said I tried to explain that it was there just because we can't track it. You want to refer to what you're amending within the amended document. And I do understand, I mean, I understand that logic, but she made the same point, and that is that it's here.
It's
But
in the,
that's not the county's ordinance.
So if somebody comes to me and says, hey, where's the original ordinance that
This
it amends? Can I identify it from this ordinance? That's all I need.
Yeah, it's not in there. That was what we talked about. I think there's just a difference of understanding what the,
so
auditor
if
standpoint.
it's not gonna do anything time-wise, let's just put it
Yeah.
off until the next agenda as an item, action item, and come up with the
Appropriate instructions
appropriate
on how to do it.
ordinance
I'll
number
just
that we
talk-
need to reference.
Will you mention this to
Rhonda can
Rhonda?
call me if she has a
Yeah,
question
she
about
can do
it.
that too, because maybe she'll understand better if Deb explains
Okay.
I
why.
don't know if I'm a very good explainer, but.
You are.
Or, I mean, I'll talk to her again about it. I didn't want to we don't want to make this into something that it isn't. This is really more of a bookkeeping task.
Yeah, it's what ordinance from 2002
She had
Right.
it.
something like that.
Yeah, she had it that day, actually.
Right.
I think you looked it up that day in the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we already had that number.
Okay, well, we shall,
I don't like to.
Sorry,
mess
guys,
with
I
other
didn't realize that's what that was.
that's okay.
It's been
We'll put that-
rescinded at this time,
We'll
so.
put that off and we'll get it resolved at the next meeting. Any other business to come before the board?
Gary has something.
I've got something. I was approached by Mr. Moore wanting to use the memorial building to practice with his girls' basketball. They don't have a place to practice. And I'd like to make a motion that we sign the county hold harmless and all that and allow him to do it.
Does he have, will he be providing
It's gonna be he and his girls.
the, certificate of liability? Because
gotta
we've
do a
had,
waiver.
we've had anybody that would do that, had to sign an insurance waiver to get in there and do that.
I mean, he'll
He
do
has
it.
not signed it yet.
He's
according
not
to
done it, but I
Sarah,
mean, he'll do it.
but he will sign it.
He
And
will.
is it for just one day?
Right now, he just wanted to use it here and there, and that's about it.
If it's
Right now, it's
available.
one day, but at the same time, if he
Okay.
comes back later on, he'd like to be able to use it, if it's available.
Which Mr. Moore are we talking?
Thomas.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I have no problems with making a motion. Thomas Moore and his basketball team.
His two daughters.
Use that memorial building as long as he can provide a hold harmless to the county and a certificate of insurance.
Okay. And that he can get from Sarah. So, yes. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we allow Thomas Moore and his two daughters to use the memorial building for basketball practice, providing he provides a certificate of insurance and signs off on a standard county hold harmless document as requested. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Been moved and seconded, we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 My
We are
goodness,
adjourned.
Gary.
Guys, tomorrow on our trip, I think it's just, we just take off from wherever. You guys, whatever's best for you.
I'll pick you up.
Okay. Do you want to just come to my house and pick me up? Okay. And then, tire, what Gary and I talked about it.
I'm just going
Just
to wear
like
jeans and a
business
sports jacket.
casual, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not anything big.
I'm gonna bring a sport coat, but I'm probably gonna do the same thing, slacks and a, pull over like a polo shirt or something.